Hello. Just waiting for things. Okay. Hey everyone. I'm gonna let people pop in. I'm gonna be seated today. We'll see how that works. I was pretty comfortable for my live on Thursday, so I'm gonna try it again for my Monday live. I hate that all of this text stuff takes up so much space. I hate it. I literally have this much space to work with, and it's very minimal. Hey Lori, it's good to see you. Oh, so veganism is a principled stance against the exploitation of sentient beings. And, you know, if you want your own autonomy and capacity to experience suffering or joy, to be respected by other people, by people not exploiting you or using you without your consent, then you have a moral obligation to provide that same respect to all beings with a similar capacity. Otherwise, you're just arbitrarily picking traits. I don't have my words apparently today. But otherwise, you're just picking arbitrary traits to make yourself feel better about oppressing someone. And if you were being oppressed by somebody, how quickly would you want them to stop oppressing you and let you live your life? All humans are animals, so let's be clear, okay? We all matter morally the same because we all have the same capacity to suffer. No, a vegan world would be better for the environment. Vegan diet is 30% cheaper. Doesn't matter what we did in the past. We have evidence now that shows that we can thrive on a plant-based diet. So there's no point in using animals. It's just torture. Actually, if you use animals, you're supporting soy. 70 to 80% of the soy we grow is fed to animals, specifically cattle, but also pigs and chickens and even fish. Yep. I mean, if a child was saying that they enjoyed causing animals harm, wouldn't we think that that child needs help? There's something wrong. You're sitting here telling me I love to hear that animals are harmed for my taste pleasure. How is that any different? It's funny that you say the moment a vegan diet becomes law, farm animals will be executed. They're already being executed every day. 92.2 billion. 38 billion of stock. We kill 92.2 billion animals. Actually, we kill 80 plus billion. We raise and feed 92.2 billion. You have to be over 18. I'll bring you up. But if you're under 18, I'm going to kick you if I even think you're under 18.
What's up?
Hey, why aren't my headphones working? That's weird. Oh, hold on 1 second.
I just need your help.
Hold on 1 second. Okay, let's see if that worked. Can you say something for me now?
What's up?
Oh, I think I got you now. Okay, let me turn up the
Oh,
volume.
I just need
There
your
we go.
help. I can't decide if I want to eat Taco Bell, McDonald's, Burger King. I
Oh, I
can't.
can help you
I
out.
can't
Yeah, no,
decide.
I can totally help you with that. You should go vegan. Pretty easy. That was an easy one. Also, I have to say, it's really pathetic that adults are so upset. They have to come up here and cry on my live. It's really sad. Hey, Lori. Hey,
Girl.
how you doing?
Okay. Hanging in
Good, right
here,
on.
looking at some of these funny things people are saying.
Yeah, they're already pouring in with
They're already
the.
starting.
I know it. I was like, my first person. I'm like, wow. All right, first
They're
one,
already
get
jumping
right on the
down your
go.
throat. I know, huh?
Uh,
You're
I like how
crying
this person. No
about
one,
how,
no one is right. Everyone has their own opinion.
yeah, you're crying women about how we should go vegan. I didn't think we were crying.
Yeah, that's if anything, whoever had just up here was crying. All right, I'm gonna bring up another one.
Okay.
Hey,
Omni
how's it
Kevlar.
going?
Hey, are you over 18?
Yes, ma'am, I'm 32.
Beautiful. So why aren't you vegan?
Well, I don't know if this is only for ops, but I've been vegan for 6 years. But
Nice, right
I,
on.
yeah, I do have some questions though I wanted to ask, and maybe,
Yeah.
because maybe we may not be agreeing in the gray
I
areas.
was just gonna ask. I was gonna say if you have questions, then I have questions. So go for it.
Yeah, so there's like a couple of scenarios. So, like, a common area I've heard in like Texas is like, there's like a big hog problem, and I think that goes
Hmm.
back to when they brought a bunch of pigs, when the Caucasians brought pigs 500 years ago or whatever. And so the wild
Hmm.
hog problem really causes a lot of problems for farmers. And
Sure. Do you
I think
think
to my,
that we
yeah,
should?
go ahead.
Do you think we should be having people with their kids going out there with pew pews to take them out?
No, I wouldn't necessarily say I necessarily agree with that.
Yeah.
Uh, but well,
So,
let me add two
so
things
I'm
here.
not.
So
Okay, go ahead.
if I'm a farmer, right? And
Hmm.
constantly like the hogs are coming in and taking out my crops over and over again.
Hmm.
And it's like the only meaningful way for me to like have my my crop business is to protect it. I wouldn't have an issue if someone's like, "Yo, I need to protect my land, my crops,
Yeah,
and
vegans are
I
not
need
against
to."
self defense.
Okay, so we can agree with that then. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
if there's like a way like you could create a fence and it,
Right.
later on, like alternatively, yeah, I would advocate, yes, we should do stuff like that to reduce suffering. And another thing is like in Florida, we have like a lionfish problem in the coral reef area.
Are all your questions about conservation?
This is this one, last one is, and then there's one more that's different.
Okay. Any issue with conservation? I'm not a conservationist. We do need vegan conservationists, of course. I do understand that we need to protect our food and that some ecosystems may be in danger. I don't think that our first turn should be to violence. I think most vegans would agree that we'll do what we need to defend ourselves, but what are all the options before robbing someone of their life? So lionfish, hogs, any invasive animal really. If it's the only way to protect whatever we're trying to protect, that's understandable, not moral, but understandable. I wouldn't use it as a way to make an excuse to be able to use animals in other aspects, which is usually why people bring that up because we don't eat lionfish. I guess the hogs, we could use their flesh, but my issue with consuming the animals is that we're also seeing them as resources, right? So
Yeah.
again, I'm for self-defense, but I'm not for just using it as an excuse to then breed them or to make a sport out of it, right? To sell for hunters to get excited to go hunting for pigs. It's not really
No,
caring
I
about the
love all
environment,
that.
right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love all that. And there's been times too, we need to recognize that conservationists are not always like perfect. Like when they
of course
advocated
not.
to geocide a bunch of elephants and other animals in Africa, and then that did worse for the environment, right? And so we need to
Yeah,
be very careful about that.
absolutely.
I love what you just said there, where you're saying like, okay, look, in a situation where we have a complicated ecosystem and we're seeing some problems here, we need to tread carefully, weigh out our options, and not necessarily jump to deleting animals. Like let's weigh out all our options here. I love that.
Exactly. Yeah.
My final question is, I haven't really thought about this. And again, just to be clear, like this is like, bottom of the scale. I think the priority needs to be factory farming. Like that needs to go right away. Like this is like stuff down the line kind of thing. But testing of animals, like when it comes to rats, right?
Hmm.
For trying to, I've heard people say, I'm not a professional when it comes to medication or how, like, the process of how to, it goes about to discovering and creating new medicines for ourselves. But I've heard people say that when we test on rats, like that's one of the first steps to take. What is your take on this? Like, if we
Yeah.
found the cure for cancer and it started and it was seeded in testing rats, like where do you
Yeah.
stand on that?
So we've been testing on animals for quite a long time, and even cancer. And so far, for specifically cancer, zero of the animal trials that have passed have been successful in humans. And then as far as like medicine, I think it's something like 96% of the tests that succeed in animals fail in humans. So to me, a test that fails over 90% of the time is not an efficient way to test something. I understand, though, that it's been our method for so long, but we do have technology now that is less expensive and becoming more accurate than when we test on animals. And animals don't actually ever really tell us anything other than maybe something is lethal or not, right? They kind of they don't respond the same way exactly to us. They do have, excuse me, I need some water. They do have nociceptors, so they do experience pain similar to us, but that would be probably the extent of like everything else. They're going to have different immune systems because their bodies were influenced by different environments and different situations that helped them survive. So I just feel that it's a pointless thing that we could even end right now, and no one would be harmed if we stopped animal testing today. It might slow us down for maybe a couple of years, but then we could even do better because we're not relying on individuals that don't actually match our anatomy or anything of our immune systems. So I think that we could end animal testing right now and be okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's something I have to think about because I'm definitely for just ending the atrocious behavior I see in the factory farming and stuff like that. That to me is just like, okay, obviously we need to get rid of that.
Mhm.
It's so horrible what I see there.
Well, I mean,
And
like, so if I assume that you're thinking that we still need animal testing for the safety of it, I
I'm
would
just
just
not too
encourage.
sure. Yeah.
Sure, that's fine. We're not even the ones to really make that call, as we don't have all the information. We're just Joe Smokes. I'm just a TikToker, right? I would just
Yeah.
encourage people to go read the studies, go talk with ChatGPT and tell it to take you to studies. I haven't seen anything that really convinces me that we need to keep this practice. I
Hmm.
know ChatGPT is not exactly a source, but I've had conversations with it about animal testing, and it verifies to me that there wouldn't be harm to humans. In fact, the chat even encourages me that we would actually do better in science without relying on bureaucratic reasons to keep testing on animals, because a lot of these tests aren't even really for anything meaningful. It's to get scholarships or to get funding. You have to meet so many
You see it
boxes
as like
checked.
a placebo step practice that doesn't need
I
to
mean,
happen kind of thing.
there's obviously that 4% translates into humans, but I just
Yeah.
think that it's so unreliable. It's just like, what's the point anymore?
Right.
As
Okay.
far as like what you and I could do on this front, we can advocate for the animals, but if we had to take like a life-saving medicine, I would never advocate for someone to harm themselves. Like I would tell them to take the medicine and advocate for the ones that they had to use in order to continue living. I would say, like, I don't want to have to cross my principles to survive, but I'm never going to hold that against somebody to do that, right?
Hmm.
So that's kind of how I feel about, like, I wouldn't want to support it, but if it's going to keep me alive, I'm going to take the medicine and then always ask for an alternative or advocate for the individuals and be like, end animal testing, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Does
I'm the
that kind of
same
answer what
way.
you were
Like,
looking for?
yeah, and I think I'm definitely the same way where it's like, yeah, like I try to, what's the least suffering pathway that I can take that's like kind of reasonable, right? Like I understand
Yeah.
taking that to its full consistency is near impossible, but like if it's just, hey, instead of grabbing this cow's milk, I'm gonna grab this almond milk over here, that's not a big deal to me. So,
Right. Super easy. And most of the time, most people, that's all it is. It's the grocery store, it's cosmetics, it's their entertainment. Really easy things to choose to change.
Oh yeah, like
So,
when people tell me like, oh, it's like I don't like that stuff, and I'm like, well, where do you get your groceries from? Like the 99% of it is from that. So,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And I mean, so even small farms, like I'm vegan because I'm against the exploitation, not necessarily the welfare. I'm not, I don't, the better conditions doesn't make the rights violations any less immoral. So even though 99% is terrible, yeah, I'm fine with taking that away. I do think all exploitation should be eliminated, because it's not about just that the treatment. It's about that someone is being used as an object and having their life taken from them for pure taste pleasure. And the only issue I usually have with just advocating to eliminate factory farming is that we're still going to view animals as a product, and you just took something that was brought down in price and was made more available, right, to most people. You just took something away from them. And so I feel like if you're going to advocate for getting rid of factory farming, you should advocate for eliminating all farming, because either you're arguing to remove something from the poor or you're fighting for someone's rights. And personally, I find it more admirable for someone to speak up for someone's rights instead of saying we should get rid of factory farming because it's environmentally bad. But that's usually a vegan perspective. It's about the sentient being and their oppression.
I think I see what you're saying. Like,
I could
I'm
put
a
it even
weird
more simple.
person. Well,
I could put
can
it
I
more
finish?
simple. Like,
Okay, go ahead.
I guess. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Um, if you put a cow or some type of animal in front of me, I know I'm going to behave and like be very precious to that animal, and like, you know, in be- not obviously not necessarily human, but I see what you're saying. Where if you're talking about this just broadly as like a stat number, you can tend to lose your, if you're not careful, you can lose a bit of your humanity in how you discuss this.
I
I
mean,
think, yeah,
if you still support small farms with animals, you're still saying that animals are here for us to use, even if, like, why do we care about their welfare at all if they're just going to be used anyway, right? We care because causing them unnecessary suffering is immoral, right? If we were, in a situation where we had to be cared for in the same manner, we would want our autonomy and our ability to experience life to be respected, right? We wouldn't want to be used.
yeah.
So that's why I'm
Well,
advocating for even the backyard chickens. It's like,
I
I don't
think the
want to be
way
exploited.
I think the way I'm thinking about it is I'm going about this in a baby step kind of way. Like,
Hmm.
if I go into this like black and white thinking, like I would love to just push a button and just completely end animal exploitation. Like that'd be like I'd
Yeah.
smash that button for sure. But I think as I've thought about this and recognize, because like when I first discovered this stuff like 7, 8 years ago when I was researching this, I was like, oh my gosh, I think I have to go vegan. And I thought we just have to get this information out there, and then people will recognize, wow, we need to change this. This is
Yeah.
horrible what we're doing to animals. And then when I got so much pushback, and what it came across to me was I realized like it's a lot more nuanced than that. It's not just going to end overnight. I think it's going
Oh,
to
of
be one
course
of those
not.
things where, and that's why I think my first a priori is getting rid of factory farming, because that would be the easy, like the average person is easily going to recognize, okay, this is bad. So even
Yeah.
though I would love to try to get rid of all types of that farming, I think my hope is like at least factory farming. Yes, it's not the end goal, perhaps, but it's like it's
Yeah.
a step in the right direction.
I mean,
is kind of the way
I'm not
seeing it.
against it. I'm not against it. It's just I don't know how to advocate for that without sounding like, but it's okay that you use animals somewhat. You know what I mean?
Right. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So,
I see
like,
what you mean.
do you want your autonomy respected? Like, let's say you got bumped on the head, right? Now you have to be cared for. Would it be all right for me to exploit you, even in a really nice way?
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna unalive you at a before your time just so I could taste your flesh. It's the same thing for them, right? Like, I understand that there are nicer farms, but slavery is slavery, and all slavery should be abolished. So, I do have some people come up here sometimes that also tell me that they're against factory farming as omnivores. But again, I don't think they know what they're advocating for, because everyone's been told factory farming is so bad. But if they want to continue to use animals, that's the only way that it stays affordable, and it's the like lowest way to use resources to raise animals.
Well,
Like
yeah,
it
and
takes less
exactly.
time and less
If
water.
we get rid of factory farming, the demand we have for meat, it's either, like I said, you're either going to have to lower your demand for meat, or that
Right.
price is just going to skyrocket. So it's like,
Both.
I
It would be
think that's
both, I would
another
imagine.
reason why I want factory. That's another reason why I want factory farming gone, is because then, you know, it really puts people in that polarized spot of like, hey, are you actually in on this, or are you gonna?
Are you with Animal Pro
No.
Future? Okay, so they're actually working on, I think it's only in Colorado, but and there's something over in the Pacific Northwest in Portland called IP, I think 28. It's not gonna be voted on until at least next year. There's a petition going around trying to get it to be voted on, I think by 2026. And then Colorado, I don't know if they're trying again. They failed recently, but they're trying to end slaughter in one of the cities in Colorado.
Really?
Yeah. So there is legislative pushes to get rid of like factory farming. Actually, over here in Oregon, the legislation that they're trying to get voted on is to eliminate animal breeding and slaughtering. But
Oh wow.
yeah, it's a big task. It's like you say, you need to get the people behind it, but it's great to have every front. So if you are against factory farming, those would be great initiatives to get behind, or maybe even find people in your state that have similar wants as you that would be willing to work with you, kind of like Animal Pro Future. Or even Animal Pro Future might be able to come to your city because they came over here too. And maybe you can work towards legislation that gets rid of factory farming or something along the lines of factory farming.
Well,
but when
I would love all that. In Florida here, they unfortunately banned.
Florida is very active, actually. There's, what is it called? Animal Active. It's AAM or something like that. There's a big group in Florida that I actually watch on YouTube pretty frequently. They're very active.
Yeah, I may have to go see them, because like when I hear about like how we're banning, lab grown meat, just banning it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Like, why? Like,
well, capitalism. There's a lot of money. There's only like 5 major companies that do that handle all the animal products, that sell and produce all our animal products. So there's a lot of sway from them with lobbyists to maintain their companies because they don't want to lose money. In fact, a lot of these companies are already making their own vegan alternatives because we threaten them. Well, it's just the way that capitalism works. And but we're winning in that sense that they're already bending a knee by making vegan alternatives. You know, these like
But
Tyson and I can't remember who else.
it's just frustrating because like the right like to advocate, oh, we're free this, free that, and it's like you guys are just like, what is this here? I don't know. I
Yeah.
just get frustrated with it. Sorry.
No, I agree. It's definitely not how it's advertised. The capitalism.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely geared to trick us all, and that's not my topic here. If you're okay, I might actually move on. I'm really glad that you're vegan, but
Yeah,
I think you've
6
asked
years.
some
I
great
made it
questions.
past that 2 year marker. You know, that's like I was, you know, if you can make it past that 2 years, you're pretty much locked in. You don't have to worry about reverting back or anything. Anyways, you have a great day. Wish you the
Yeah, I
best.
really appreciate you being up here. Thank you. All right, I'll see you around, Omni. In fact, I'll give you a follow. Awesome. All right, I'll see you around. Oh, I didn't know he dropped down. Anyway, yeah. So I would just, you know, keep in mind it's fine to advocate against factory farming. Go ahead, Lori. I saw you come on mute.
Oh yeah, no, I was just listening what he was saying, and yeah, we just need to get rid of factory farming. You know,
Yeah, factory farming is a big issue. It's just I don't want to advocate just for factory farming because it's all wrong, you know. Like,
oh yeah,
and
it is all.
and yeah, and
Right.
if we're gonna keep using animals, to take away factory farming is just to take away something from the poor people. So I feel that, you know, it's better to come out with our clear message that we're against exploitation. And I understand that as time goes on, we'll probably the world will sadly make baby steps for justice, but we have to make the biggest step we can to make that as quickly a transition as possible by going vegan. Yeah.
Exactly. No, yeah, I'm like, I sent you that information saying that by 2030, you know, things are going to change drastically, and by 2050, people are just going to have to give up the animals.
Yep. I think if more people become vegan, I mean, factory farming will just naturally go away on its own, and there will only be the small farms, but it won't be because the majority of people still want to use animals. It'll be because some people are just holding on to their speciesism and won't let go.
Right. Or their sanctuaries. Yeah. I mean, I agree with
that's what I would hope is like, if we get to a point where factory farming just dies, that, you know, people would be active then, because there'd be so many of us, there'd be active people trying to save the animals in the remaining farms. That would be my hope, at least.
Right.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Do we have any other victims? None.
They were up and then they jumped down.
Yeah, they'll be back, I'm sure.
They're all just like saying crap in the.
Yeah, I did miss some of it. Sometimes the chat just flies right by me, so I don't see all the conversation that's happening.
Right. Like,
what is not ideal about veganism? Everything's ideal about veganism. It's good for everyone and the planet.
Yeah.
Oh, I love all my vegans in here. What's up? It's good to see y'all. Oh, I don't know if your Messiah was vegan, but you should watch Christspiracy. It's a good documentary about religion and veganism.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you should definitely get your advice from dietitians if you're talking about like your nutrition. Go to Challenge 22. You can go talk to a dietitian who has 2,000 to 8,000 hours of education focused on how nutrition affects your health. Damien. Veganism is not a religion. It's a principled stance and a philosophy that is against the exploitation of sentient beings. A religion is based off of pure faith and no facts. Veganism is totally backed by science.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I understand you have leather stuff. Yes, I understand. Yes, we live in a non-vegan world. That's going to happen. It's unfortunate and disgusting, really, but not going to shock me.
Captain America, you're wrong. It is going to be that way.
What is he saying, though? I
Oh,
missed the
that
first
it's
part of it.
not. No, it's not. It's not. That we're, eventually it's going to go all vegan.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, even
Science
if
is
we don't,
predicting.
yeah, if the world doesn't, yes, it is backed by science. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics is the largest body of nutrition professionals in the world. And they state
Yeah.
clearly that a vegan diet is safe and healthy and even preventative against our major chronic diseases like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, even Alzheimer's. Yeah, exactly. Come on up if you really think that you want to
Exactly.
blow our minds.
Yeah, Captain America.
Teach us something new.
Right.
You're going to eat your own ribs? That sounds painful.
Damien's a good one too.
How's the health of America right now? It's pretty heavy in animal
Horrible.
products, right?
It's horrible.
They're not doing so well.
Why do you think, like, Captain, whatever, Captain, why do you think cholesterol comes from, dude?
Yeah.
Why do you think people are dying of heart disease and cancer and all this stuff? It's caused by eating processed meat and animal products.
Yep. In fact, sausages and deli flesh, all those things are a class 1 carcinogen. That means there's a lot of evidence that is correlating that it causes cancer, like cigarettes. Like, what? Also, what was it? There was another comment I wanted to respond to.
Yeah, this guy. Oh, El Stang. He's a nice guy too.
Oh, I see. Okay, so any issue you have with crops are going to be compounded by using animals. The monocrops and all that mostly are for animals, like soy, corn, I can't remember the other one, alfalfa, some other crop. But we mostly grow those for animals. Like 80% of the soy that's grown all over the world, in fact, but also specifically South America, where the rainforest is being wiped out, is for food for animals or pasture land. Like, we're wiping out the lungs of our planet so that we can enslave sentient beings for taste pleasure. I mean, even if, I know you guys really badly want to say that vegans are hypocrites, but even if we were hypocrites, that doesn't make the argument, that doesn't debunk veganism. It's still immoral to use somebody without their consent for your benefit, without their best interests in mind, right? Like, that's veganism.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we should just leave them alone. We don't need to use them. Exactly. Animals are overpopulated because of us. Wow, I am so behind.
You got Nightwing that wants to come up.
Oh, shit. I feel like we've spoken many times. At least last time, for sure.
Hello? Yeah.
Hey, Nightwing, you're over 18, right? Pretty sure, because we've had conversations. Yeah. What's up?
Okay. Well, I was just gonna say, have you ever tried chicken wings before?
Oh my god. So we've had all those conversations and that's the best you can come up with? That's too bad, because I know that they've been up here before.
Yeah. Okay. Trying to get Captain up, but he's chicken.
Yeah, he will not come up. I'm sorry, are you over 18?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on, I can barely, the speakers are really quiet. Okay, so why aren't you vegan?
Why am I not vegan? Why am I not vegan? That's a good question. I mean, there's not enough
question of the day.
There's not enough compelling arguments to transfer me to the religion, or not even religion, the ethics that I shouldn't eat meat or shouldn't eat animals.
Okay, should other humans respect your autonomy?
Should other humans respect my autonomy? Respect the way my body is built? I don't get what you mean by
Yeah.
that.
Should they respect your body? Should they not invade your autonomy or use you without your consent?
I mean, yeah,
Do you have a preference to not be exploited?
yeah, I prefer not to be
Okay,
exploited.
right. And should I respect that? Should I respect that you don't want to be exploited?
Yeah, you should.
Okay. Why should I respect that?
Because I have a certain level of consciousness that I
Right.
have the
Yeah. That's absolutely it. You hit it right on. You're the first person that's ever said it like right out the gate. It's because you're having a subjective experience. You can experience emotion.
Yep.
Right. So if I should respect that in you, do you think you should respect other humans that have the capacity to suffer? But let's say they're not as intelligent as you. Would you still say you have to respect those humans?
I mean, when you say the capacity to suffer, I don't really think that dictates the consciousness level. Well, let me fix myself because I'm having a brain fart now.
I'm going to ask you again. If there's a human that is not as intelligent as you, do you agree that you should respect them?
I would have a level of value for them. So if there was a person in a severe coma,
You can answer my question yes or no. Do you think you should respect them? Like, is it okay for me to grape someone in a coma?
in a coma,
Yeah.
there's different levels of a coma. Are you trying to imply that this person is in a coma, this person has no
I can't believe you don't just say no.
I mean, you can't just say no to all the questions. You have to be open-minded.
I am not open-minded to violating human rights.
Yeah, that's a loser.
That is disgusting, guy. You're literally saying that you're open to human rights violations. I haven't even gotten to animals yet. That is disgusting. Women, cover your drinks.
Exactly.
Watch out. Like, that is creepy. Ugh. Yeah, he took an L real fast. Like, just be honest with me and I'll keep you up here. But if you're going to seriously be okay with violating human rights, you're gone. There's no point in us talking anymore. You need to talk to a professional, and I am not that for you.
No, right, exactly.
Yeah. Thank you, Sierra. Yeah. I don't appreciate people just being trolls in here. It's fine to let them go for a little while, but if they're just being ridiculous, just get them out.
Oh my God, that's
Oh, fair enough. All people that person might go after cover your drinks. It's a good point. You're right. I did assume that he was heterosexual, and that was rude. But anyway, yeah, I don't like creepy people.
no, exactly. That
Yeah.
is creepy.
Yeah.
Pretty creepy.
Yeah, and the point that I was trying to get to that he didn't really want to follow is just that we respect other humans because we recognize, even though a human may not have full intelligence, that we
Right.
could have easily been that human. We could have,
Right.
and we still could be that human. And if we want, and if we still want to be respected, if we ended up in that condition, then we have a moral obligation to treat that individual with the same respect that we demand.
Right.
It kills me though, because they know where I'm going and they're like, you know what? No, it is okay to use somebody without their consent.
Right.
You think that until you're the victim. And then when you're the victim of the situation, suddenly it's totally immoral and you have full rights to defend yourself, which absolutely you do.
Right.
It's just the hypocrisy.
Yeah, I think it's a crock up too that these people are saying what they want to say, but they don't want to come up.
They don't want to come up. It's really sad.
False equivalency. Okay.
I just missed them. Oh, yeah. I don't. What are you saying is false equivalency? What did I compare? Humans and animals? Is that what the issue is? We have the same nociceptors. We literally, when you see a knife going across their throat, it feels the same as if it were us. We have those same nerve endings that tell us we're having excruciating pain. Oh, that was loud. I was completely out of water, and I was very, very thirsty.
No. Get your water.
Yeah. So then, people in the chat, what is the moral difference that makes it okay to use an animal or stab an animal, but it's not okay to do to a human? What is it about an animal that makes that okay? My partner's overworked? Me? Or the guy that's typing? He's saving the world over there, okay? Cannot interrupt him. I actually like, I don't know, I think it's kind of, I like the sounds of him typing in the background,
Yeah,
but
I know. It's like everybody thinks you're typing, but you don't.
I know. I should be like this. Look, you see my hands.
Exactly.
Part of me wants to have like a little meme of the cat hitting the keyboard every time that he's tapping so that it looks like.
Yeah. That would be funny.
Yeah. The typing ASMR, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
He actually does have the keyboard purposely to give that
next to you.
Physical response. Exactly. Yeah, that textile. Yeah. Kelly, what do you mean leave you alone? You came into my live.
I was wondering about that too. Yeah.
That's too
funny.
Up,
Kelly.
Yeah, come on up. Let's see. You know, it's weird is like when I go through seeing who's here, I can't see everybody. Like the viewers, they don't show me all of the viewers.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like you're seeing something that we aren't always seeing on this side. You know, it's questions and people talk. Kind of weird.
Oh. Like you don't see some of the that's weird.
Sometimes no, I don't. I don't see it sometimes the people that you're talking to.
You don't see it. Well, I am sometimes really far back in the comments.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
Like I'm just like so far behind, and then I like jump back up. Milk is not necessary at all, and even if it were, they now have animal-free dairy, so purchase that instead of the cow. But you can get everything you need without using animals at all. Sunny Grung. No, I'm not wasting my time. I'm speaking to you. You're hearing me. That means it's not a waste. Aaron, they have vegan steaks. I don't know if you know that. And they actually are really good. In fact, let me go grab. I have them in my freezer right now. They're made out of mushrooms. Oh, you can't see it. Mushrooms. Oh, right. I forgot. I don't have my thing switched. All right, now you can read the brand. They're delicious. They're very filling too. I can barely eat a whole one because they're so filling.
Processed. Oh, okay. No, it's not processed.
A whole food plant-based diet. You don't need to eat any processed foods. Yeah. Like, that's so funny, too, that I guarantee that person eats processed food, especially if you're eating animal products. They're all processed.
He's trying to get
all
off.
Animal products are processed.
Yeah. He's saying he's East Indian or something.
If you're in here, make sure you tap the screen and share. That way we get some people up here. Huh. Processed. I just don't know what you mean by are you just saying that vegan food is processed? It's not processed that's healthy.
Yeah,
Animal products are processed. I don't think this person's getting it.
No. Yeah.
Sunny Garung, whatever.
Yeah.
You don't need to eat processed food. Stop saying processed.
Well, it's like
Animal products. Go ahead. Sorry, Laura. I keep talking when you talk.
Maximus is saying the same thing. Unless you grow it yourself, it's all food is processed. No, maybe
That's
the crap
not.
we eat.
Yeah, that's not a practical solution for people. Like, veganism is about what's possible and practicable, which means doing the best you can in the situation you're in.
Right.
You know, growing my own vegetables is not something that everybody can do. I can't do that. I don't have, the area. I don't have the resources to get all the inputs you have to do. Like, I don't think people understand how much goes into gardening when you garden fruits and vegetables. Like, there is a lot that you have to put into the ground to make sure your food is nutritious and not going to absorb a bunch of like heavy metals or something.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I usually prefer to buy my fruits and vegetables, because it's better that we do it in one area. It's going to reduce the water use and the resource use.
People don't think about that. Like,
yeah, I know.
What's going to happen when all the water's gone? It's going to be gone. What's going to happen when all the, Earth is like totally decimated because we want to keep factory farming going? What are you going to do then?
Yep. The water crisis is like the craziest one to me, like you say, because we're using a third of our water for animals. And every time I hear of an area that's low on, oh, cool. Thank you, Lori. Oh my God, I didn't even realize it was you. Stop doing that. You guys don't need to donate to me. Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you. I forgot what I was saying now. You distracted me with the crown. Oh, don't be sorry. Oh, it was water use.
Water use, yeah.
Because people, they talk about like almonds or whatever, or transportation of plants, and it's like, you're using all of our water and all of our land and all of our resources for animals.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
People don't realize that because they don't do their own research. They just listen to what everybody else says.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of really looking at the facts and science.
Yep.
What is the crown? Oh, wow, Maximus is up.
Yeah, it looks like. Oh, did I didn't hit you, did I?
It's Maximus.
What?
Oh,
there we go. Okay, it works. Hello.
Hey, are you over 18?
Yes.
Right on. All right, so why aren't you vegan?
Mostly because I don't think I could handle a vegan diet. I have to work out constantly to maintain a particular standard, and I don't think a vegan diet could keep up with that.
Okay, if I had evidence that could help you with that, would you be willing to go vegan, or find it at least a moral obligation to live vegan?
Bring it.
Okay, so I would go to Challenge 22. You can talk to dietitians. They actually help you meal plan for 22 days, and it's all free. And it's just through email, so it's not super invasive. And they'll help you get your protein needs, any nutrient, whatever, based off of your budget and where you're at. It's a great resource.
There are a lot of vegan bodybuilders that you would be surprised to see how big they are. If you research it, look into vegan bodybuilders, it would surprise you.
I've actually seen a few of them, and they are pretty shredded, I will admit. I'll give you that, but I can only imagine what they have to do in terms of mineral intake and supplements.
There's a Hinch Herbivore. He's a YouTuber, and he's very transparent on what he eats, so you can look him up. Or Brian Turner. He also offers coaching. I think Nehemiah Delgado also offers coaching as well. All vegan bodybuilders.
Yeah, there's a guy in the chat right now, Vegan Muscle. He's a bodybuilder.
Oh, nice. Yeah, reach out to them. Vegan Muscle right there. Vegan bodybuilder.
I'll need to make a note of that. That's something I haven't researched, or at least put enough research, I think, into. And so I'll be fair on that one and just say I haven't done enough on that to
I
make any sort
I
of
would
comments.
take a screenshot. Take a screenshot. These top two resources are fantastic for that specifically. Like I said, talking to a registered dietitian who has 2,000 to 8,000 hours focused on nutrition and how it affects your health. But there's also nutritionfacts.org. They have like the Dailey Dozen, which is just an easy checklist to make sure you get everything you need. But also they just have studies. They show all of their scientific studies. They list them there. And they also have videos breaking them down about like why is a food considered healthy and what is healthy? Is healthy just getting to reproductive age, or is healthy getting to an old age and having high quality of life? So those two sources I would go check out.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting debate, because you could drop dead at 25 and be the healthiest person in the world, but some people eat whatever they want and they live to be 99. So there's
Sure.
I think
I mean,
there's
those are more
genetics to
like
be had in there
I was
too.
gonna say there's some exactly, and they take those confounding factors into account. So they're looking at not the anomalies, but what is generally something we can say is true for the population of humans. So that's
Right.
what nutritionfacts.org is great for.
That's perfectly fair. I need to follow up on that eventually.
Sure.
Can I just be 100% honest? I don't really care what people eat. It's your lifestyle. It's how you look at it. But
I'm not here necessarily
but-
advocating for people to be healthy. I want you to be healthy. I'm here talking about the ethics of veganism.
Okay, and that's where I think I kind of I have to disagree, because
Why do you
Do you
think?
know what veganism? Oh, go ahead, Lori.
I was just going to ask him, why do you think it's okay to kill other sentient beings that think and
they
feel?
kill each other. Oh, sorry.
They may kill each other, but they don't have really other options. If you're talking about a lion, you
A
know,
lion is a carnivore, correct?
yeah, we are not lions. We are not.
Right. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, lions are carnivores. They evolved specifically to eat other animals. They can eat certain vegetables, and they will actually forage depending on, need and requirements, but they are primarily meat eaters. Whereas inversely, most herbivores will also seek meat. So it's very rare in nature when you see an animal that is specifically 100% only eats this one thing. Humans are dedicated omnivores. We can eat anything. We can eat anything we want.
We're actually opportunistic omnivores, and it's because our ancestors during warmer seasons ate more plants, so we thrived on plant-based diets mostly. And then when it was colder and plants were harder to find, that's when we would survive using animals. So we do have the ability to survive on almost anything, but that doesn't mean that we should use animals. It just means that we can. And vegans are recognizing that animals are sentient, or not just recognizing, but respecting that. In the sense that I'm sentient, I'm having my own subjective experience, I'm weighing out my experiences, and I'm making preferences on those experiences. I prefer to be comfortable. I don't prefer to be uncomfortable, right? Animals are doing the same exact thing. And we have humans within our species that are not the same intelligence as the average, right? We have humans that you could argue are not sapient, but they are sentient. So sapience means they're thinking about thoughts. Sentience just means they're having experiences and making preferences on them. So we have humans that are in that state, and we would find it immoral, or at least most of us agree, we would find it immoral to exploit those humans, because we ourselves wouldn't want to be exploited if we were in their situation, right? Still talking about humans.
Right. But if that's the case...
So if that's the case, if when I see another human and I go, I recognize that they're having their own subjective experience, I should not exploit them because they're having that experience. What is it that makes them different than the animals that we use? Because we don't need to do this to animals.
Well, if we're going to go off of the ability to experience pain or suffering,
Just experience life in general. Plants can do
the
they're
same
not
thing.
sentient. No, they cannot.
They don't have a
They
brain.
can release a distress. Sorry. I don't want to talk over.
No, that's
What are you saying?
Sorry about that. Go ahead, Maximus.
Most plants will release a distress hormone when harmed, hurt, destroyed. I don't know if all of them do it, probably, but humans can even detect it. That's what you're smelling whenever you smell fresh cut grass.
Okay, so I need you to look up Debunking a Myth, Plant Consciousness. That's the title of the article that I'm telling you. They went over the last 50 years of studies that look at plant sentience. They found that all the studies that say that plants have some kind of sentience have not been reliably repeated. That means the person who wrote the study was the only one that got that result. Anytime it's been repeated, it's not been the same result. It's been different. They found that the studies that looked at those mechanisms and found that they were just reactions to stimuli, those ones were repeated. So we're coming to the conclusion that plants are not sentient. They're just patterns that happen to keep existing because those patterns survive the environment. They have no preference. They just happen to keep existing.
Okay, then I have to ask this question, and this is just off the top of my head. I'm not going to pretend I know anything about it, but we are currently using fungi. Oh my gosh, I can't talk.
I don't know. Either one is fine.
Okay, they are currently using. I'm going to go with fungi to essentially inhabit robotic systems to work as sort of a distress system to figure out that the robot is in a place where it doesn't want to be, i.e. on fire, in like, I think acid. They did like an acid bath one time.
Well, those are programmed into it, right? It's not that it necessarily doesn't want to feel things. It's either it's a reaction to stimuli or it's programmed into it.
Right. But well, no, not the robot, the fungi. The fungi that covers the robot is essentially detects whether it's in in an ideal temperature or an ideal place for
it's reacting to stimuli. Right. It's reacting to stimuli. Right. It's not sentient.
Being able
to
but being able to react to stimuli.
So there's one. Okay, I want to be clear. Just because something has intelligence doesn't mean that it's sentient. For example, my phone, it can change, it can light up if it sees my face, right? It can remind me of things, and it can send signals to other phones. It can warn me that it's about to die, right?
Yeah.
My phone is not sentient, though.
Correct. Most people don't understand that. Don't understand that an AI is not capable of actual thought. But then, if we're operating,
I don't know about AI, to be honest. AI itself, because it is learning. That one's a whole other topic, though. I don't think it's there yet. But that's fine.
I'll turn away from that one. But if being able to make a decision is not considered sentient thought, then because animals can make decisions, we know this for a fact.
Yeah, it's not decisions; it's preferences. They have preferences, like, a dog. They'll have a favorite toy. All the animals we use, they, like pigs, for example, have been known to decorate where they live with flowers, right? That's sentience. They have a preference. They're not just doing it out of stimuli. Oh, there's a flower there, I need to pick it, or whatever. It's not stimuli. It's their I like this. I'm going to bring this closer to me, or I don't like that. I'm going to, rats are sentient. Okay. So what I'm talking about are the animals that you use. They are sentient. There's no doubt about it. There's the New York Declaration of Consciousness and the Cambridge Declaration of Consciousness, and they go over thousands of studies and behavioral studies that explain that these animals are sentient. It is harder for us as humans to recognize it because they look different, right? And their focuses, their priorities are different from ours. So it's hard for us to really relate as much to them as we would to a human who maybe isn't as cognitively inclined as you and I, right? We still recognize that human is having a subjective experience and deserves the same respect that we deserve. And I'm just saying that even though animals look different, their priorities might be a little different, their purpose might be a little different, they still are sentient beings having experiences and weighing those out and making preferences. And even if, let's say we strongman your sentient plant argument, let's say plants are sentient, you're feeding more plants to those animals. A cow eats pounds of food compared to a human. So we're then raising sentient plants, right, that are feeling pain. We're hacking them down and shoving them into sentient animals that then we're also removing their head just for taste pleasure. So your argument, if anything, is just a stronger argument for people to go vegan. To, you know, unless you really think that it's your right to cause the maximum amount of harm.
I don't think it's about causing harm. I think it's about having food alternatives and capabilities versus, like you say,
yeah,
it's a
so
choice.
We have everything we need right now. In all richer nations, a vegan diet is 30% cheaper than the average diet.
Well, that's probably more due to availability, and it also doesn't help that economically America pays the majority of their shipping ways. So
I mean, that doesn't matter. The point is that most people have access to a grocery store and have options, and they can choose to not exploit and oppress someone, which is what I'm saying. If you buy plant-based foods, you're at least not demanding someone be exploited for you. It's, you know, it's veganism is a principled stance. It's about me not wanting to demand slavery when it's absolutely unnecessary.
See that, okay, this is where we're turning into a territory that I disagree with entirely. To call it slavery and subjugation, these are
But you can't tell me the difference.
They don't know.
What's the difference?
They don't understand those differences.
So if the humans that we enslaved were just unaware of their slavery, it would be okay to enslave humans?
Would they even be, like, you're talking about mental cognizance of such concepts?
You know, animals are still moving around. They're still active. They still can play with balls and toys. They can still enjoy their environment. I think that you're underestimating how smart animals are. We have humans and animals that are of similar cognition.
But no.
Yes, we do.
A chicken.
Yes, we have humans that are definitely less intelligent than chickens. Absolutely.
Okay, well, I'm not talking about politicians. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, because yes, can chickens not want to be, how can I put this? I'm trying to choose the right words here.
Okay, I'll put it this way. If we had humans in comas, would it be okay to grape coma patients?
No. But
exactly. Even though they're not providing anything, they can't even reciprocate any kind of morality or emotion, right? We still know that there's someone there experiencing, even if they're not conscious, right? There's still someone in there, and they deserve that respect to not violate their rights.
But this is why that's a false equivalency, because that is a human. That is a human.
Yeah, but see, all you're saying is, Maximus, I want you to understand what you're saying. You're literally just saying they're not human. You're literally drawing a line around your species. Listen, you're drawing a line around your species. There's no difference between that and a racist drawing a line between his race and other races. I want to be clear. I'm not calling you racist. I'm saying what you're doing is picking arbitrary traits that fit your narrative of being, it's okay for you to oppress this individual. You're saying they're not as smart as me, and I can overpower them. Therefore, it is my right to be able to use their body for my pleasure. That's what your argument is right now.
Because again, show me another animal that is on the same level as a Homo sapien sapien.
Again, they don't need to be as intelligent as you to deserve their autonomy's respect.
Yeah, how about a gorilla? They're very
We
smart.
don't eat gorillas. Yeah,
No, we
they're
don't.
highly
But
intelligent,
you
but
know
we don't
what?
eat them
Chickens are
average.
very smart too. They play, they feel, and I know from experience because I raised one as a child from an egg. So that chicken knew her name. She would follow me around like a dog would, even though I had dogs and cats. And she played with me and was like my best friend. And
Yeah, for a chicken, that is a very intelligent. For a chicken, for certain species of chickens, can be more intelligent than others. I personally appreciate silkies. They're wonderful little animals. But if I had to choose between if I had to choose between a human, a fellow human, and me starving to death versus the life of a chicken, the chicken's going to go.
That's not the situation we're talking about, though. You're not starving. You're going into a grocery store.
Right. But
right. So you're making this scenario in your head that if you had to choose between a human and a chicken, which is never the case, that you would choose the chicken. What you're doing is you're saying this is your value system, and because you value chickens less, you can exploit them. But let me throw it back at you. Let's say there's a baby and an old person in a fire. Who are you going to save? Who are you going to save?
I'm going to try to save both, if at all possible. Priority one is I'm going to save both.
Okay.
If I had to choose, if I only had time to save one, yes, I will attempt to save the baby.
Right. Okay, so does that now mean you can exploit old people for taste pleasure or whatever, any kind of pleasure?
No.
Exactly.
But
So just because you value chickens less doesn't mean you have the right to exploit them. I don't care how you value individuals. I'm just talking about the bare bones minimum respect of not exploiting them. That's it. I'm not saying that you need to be friends with chickens. I'm not saying that I want chickens to vote. I'm saying that chickens have a similar capacity to suffer as you. They're sentient, just like you. But, they have a personal interest in continuing to live, just like you. What morally makes it okay to hang them upside down and remove their head, but it's not okay for me to do that to a human?
For the same reason, it would be considered in some circles morally reprehensible to save an infant versus an old person. This is what I mean by false equivalency.
No, what I'm saying is your value system is only for you. It does not talk about what's right and wrong. It just talks about what you value. You don't need to value someone to respect them.
You also
I don't value my neighbor, but I don't exploit them either, right? Bare minimum.
Right.
Okay, that's all I'm telling you. You at bare minimum don't need to exploit animals. They feel pain and you don't need to use them. That's it.
But we still have people who will raise these animals from birth.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what other people do. There's still schmurderers in the world. There's still racists in the world, right? But even though we can't eliminate all of schmurder and racism, we still strive to eliminate it, right? We still think it's wrong.
And that is a unique thing amongst humans that I find that you don't really
so why aren't
see
you
in
vegan?
the animal world.
Why aren't you vegan? Why aren't you vegan? Are you racist?
That's a stretch. Why
I'm just asking you. I'm genuinely just asking. Are you racist? Do you think that you're racist? Okay.
No.
Why? But you can't eliminate all racism. Would you still say that you're against racism?
Well, one, because to me, racism is
no, but it doesn't. It's because it's wrong, right? It's immoral to be arbitrarily discriminative to someone who's another race, right?
Yes, more or less. There are certain.
It's wrong to pick It's wrong to pick traits that someone was born with to just hold against them for arbitrary reasons and say you don't get rights because of this.
Right, but those traits are based off of also them being human. We don't pick those traits out of
species. Again, you're not hearing me. What is the difference between animals and humans that makes it okay in your eyes to do this to animals?
Well, if we
why?
Were talking
I
about
understand not human, but why? What is the difference? You need to tell me the difference.
Well, also these animals have been highly domesticated. chickens.
What does that matter?
Cows.
We literally handicap them. Are you not going to answer my question? What is the difference?
Because we designed them that way. We did as humans. If we release them now, they will not survive. They will go extinct.
I never said release them. I never said release them.
Then what would we do?
So the world, first off, will never go vegan overnight. I wish it would. But if it did, we could use the subsidies that we use to fatten them up, use that to just care for them and no longer procreate. About 20 years, there won't be any more domesticated animals. Just our wild neighbors.
I think that's a stretch. It took us.
So what you're doing as a
non-vegan,
you are demanding 100 to 300 animals every year go through the scariest system that you yourself wouldn't even tolerate going through. You have a lot of power, and you're up here telling me you have no power, which I think is really sad. You have so much power. They watch what you buy. So if you shift your demand, they'll increase the products that you do buy. They want your money. So they pay attention. Those companies pay attention. If you take away your demand from animal products, they'll breed fewer animals into existence. There will not be 100 to 300 animals there because of your demand. You've taken that away. That's huge. Can you imagine all those animals standing behind you?
No, yeah. I agree. Well, no, because
that's a lot of animals, right? Okay, I want
agreed,
one last thing, and I'll let you say your statement, which is if you're standing in a crowd of humans, right? You are still having your own personal subjective experience. And even though you're lost in a crowd, and if someone was on the outside, they would just see a mass of humans, whatever happens to you as an individual matters to you. Because that's your whole world, right? What happens to you, that's everything to you. Same thing for these animals. When we talk about pigs, cows, chickens, we're putting them in this some group. We're taking away their individuality. Each one of them is having a subjective experience like you. Each one of them has unique preferences. Just like you. You have preferences of things that some people don't have preference of, right? Because you're a unique, sentient individual. So I'm saying because each one of these individuals is sentient, they personally want to live free of being exploited, just like you. And they have that same inherent right. And your part in this is to just not pick up their family's body parts and demand that they also go through the system. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you have a lot of power, and I don't want you to throw that away.
Yes, and we earned that power through evolution. That's what made us what we are now.
So you're going to tell me you think supremacy is the way that we should follow for morality? You think that should be our guiding star? Because so far, history has shown us that anytime we use supremacy as our guiding star, it ends in exploitation and oppression, never
against other humans.
Moral progression.
Against other humans, yes. Against animals.
Of course.
Against
you
animals,
still can't tell me the difference. You cannot tell me the difference. Then
yes,
tell me already. We've waited this long, please. Domestication is our fault. That's literally okay, Maximus. You have a great day. I'm done talking to you. We're literally just going in circles. We're going in circles now.
Like, yeah.
You're literally making supremacist arguments again. Again, you're saying because I was able to force two individuals to mate and make a deformed baby that fit my needs, I'm the victor. Therefore, I am morally correct.
Yeah. Yep.
The supremacy argument is so gross, and people, I don't even think they realize they're making it. They just think because they're human, they're not the victims anymore. No one thinks of themselves as the victim. If you were in a cage about to lose your head, would you accept any of these excuses you laid out? Aliens came down and they wanted to eat your flesh, but they know that they don't need to. They just enjoy the num-nums of it. Would you find that moral?
Yeah.
Yeah, Max, you weren't getting interesting. You were just trying to talk. Like, I am totally here for a conversation, but you were literally up here just, you're not listening. And I need to talk to someone who's listening.
Yeah, you can only go around in circles so long, and he either's not getting it or he's just avoiding it.
Yeah, one of the two. I felt like he was avoiding. Every time I gave him a straightforward question, he'd be like, yeah, but this. And it's like, no, can you please answer my question and then tangent?
Yeah, it's simple yes or no.
Yeah, that's all I need, guys.
Seemed like he was getting it.
Vegans are not cool with pets. If you're someone that can provide someone genuine care, someone that needs genuine care, that's one thing. Being a steward for someone is absolutely admirable. But forcing someone to exist, taking them from their family just so that you have a fun toy every once in a while, that is immoral. You're using sentient beings as objects. Yes, evolution is supremacy based. And guess what? We left nature because it was hard and unfair. I mean, if we're really going to say that supremacy is the way the world should work, then like we've never had rights violations, right? Racism has never been a thing. People are so gross. They literally are still arguing about it. That's so gross.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't realize what was here first and how long that they've evolved and survived.
I guarantee
people came along.
I guarantee these same people would be against adults exploiting children.
Yeah.
Which is the same level of atrocity, really, because they're just as innocent and just as vulnerable. Excuse me.
Right. Yeah. Totally.
I would say, like, maybe the only reason it might be worse for humans is because children more likely will grow up and that trauma can resonate in other choices of their life. But, animals could lose their whole life because of abuse because they become so violent themselves.
Right. You're welcome, Maximus. Hopefully you'll look into what was given to you.
Yeah, please.
22 and bodybuilders, yeah.
Yep. Look up Nimai Delgado, Patrick Baboumian. We were the other two. Hinch Herbivore, he was the YouTuber. Or what was the other? Brian Turner, he's also on YouTube. They both are very transparent about their diets.
Yeah, they are.
And I'm pretty sure they both offer coaching for nutrition.
Right.
And bodybuilding, actually. They also will coach you through bodybuilding. I'm not pushing anything. I went live and said you don't need to use animals. Awesome. I'm glad you're going to check out Challenge 22. If you do reach out to them, if you do the challenge, I would love to hear from you. Tell me what you learned, if anything has changed in your mind. Maybe you should watch Dominion, Maximus. Dominion's free on YouTube. Look at what those labels mean. The free range, grass-fed, humane raised, small local slaughterhouse, small local farm. This goes over all of those, just standard practices. You should know what it is you're demanding if you're going to continue to use animals. Don't be hypnotized by those labels. Yeah, cows existed at one point, and then we took them out of nature. No. Animals are only to the numbers because we breed them. If we stopped breeding them, their numbers would drop drastically. In fact, they would probably just stop existing altogether because many of them cannot mate anymore. Turkeys, for example, too heavy. If you haven't seen it, go look up Dirty Jobs, like Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs, and Turkey Farm. And they did a scene where they show how they gather semen from turkeys. And it is gross. This guy has a 3-way straw. He flips the turkeys upside down, puts the straw between the turkey's legs, and he uses his hands to rub the turkey's nub until stuff comes out. And he, with the straw, that's what you pay for when you're getting turkeys. You're paying for someone to use a straw to suction off turkeys. Gross. And he even tells Mike, he's like, this is what the water bottle's for. Oh! I can't believe that's someone's job. Can you imagine being taught how to do that job? Ugh!
That's just like sickening to think of. I mean, even imagine. Now it's in my
Yeah.
head. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
The video
I mean, I
haunted me
knew
after
it,
I
but
saw
I
it.
wasn't thinking about it. Yeah.
Oh man, when I saw it, because it's Mike Rowe. Yeah, have you seen that show, Dirty Jobs? He goes and does like the gross jobs around the
Yes.
country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like shocked that he went here, but he does not take over. Like usually he's watching them do the dirty job and then he does it himself. He
Yeah.
did not do that one.
I don't blame him at all.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, exactly, Sierra. You should question all of your life choices if you have that job. Like, this is what you've come to. Oh, bad choice of words there.
Good one.
Anyway, yeah, that's turkey. But we do that for almost all animals. We do it for cows. We do it for horses even. Pigs. They don't really do it for sheep as much, but it's because it's so successful. Because the animals naturally mating is not as successful as AI. And I've had farmers even tell me for cows, AI is actually more compassionate because males, the bulls are either too heavy or too aggressive. And they can either very much harm the cow or even just break her back. Either way, you're paying for grape. You're paying for someone to be held down and SA'd so that they produce a baby or something for you. That is gross. Gross. All right, you got to be over 18.
All right.
Are you over 18?
I am.
Okay. Why aren't you vegan?
I guess it has to do with where I was raised.
Okay. Well,
but
what's stopping you from going vegan now?
nothing in particular besides the fact that I don't purchase the groceries.
Oh, okay. Are you still living at home with mom?
Yeah. So
Or
like
parents? Okay.
I don't do the grocery shopping and I eat what they make me. Right?
If they like cooked a dog, would you eat it?
If it was my own dog, no. But if it
Okay.
was
If you said, "Mom, I don't want to eat my dog," would she respect that?
yes, like
Okay.
I don't eat pork.
Okay, that's fantastic. So it doesn't sound like it's really an issue. If you wanted to go vegan, you would just need to tell them.
Perhaps, yes.
Okay.
But
Well, I would start there. If you want to be vegan, I would start there, talk to them, and then if they say no, obviously you live under their rule until you can do what you want.
mhm. I just have a very interesting view on a lot of it. So like human biology, we have canines and our digestive system is longer
Yeah.
than
Do,
what
do
a
you know?
herbivore's.
Do you know longer than a herbivores? Do you know that carnivores have
Oh no,
shorter
carnivores
intestines,
are
right?
yes. Carnivores are
Right.
short.
We actually
longer
are
than
closer to herbivores. You did have that right.
yeah.
Our closest relatives are frugivores, in fact.
Oh.
But it doesn't matter what we did in the past. Yeah, the chimpanzees, bonobos, they're frugivores. And it doesn't matter what we've done in the past because we were surviving a harsh environment, much like all the wild animals that are out there now. We
So
don't need that right now. We go to a grocery store.
so do you think differently when it comes to like carnivores in the wild eating animals?
Of course, they're not moral agents like you and me. They're moral patients like children. They might have some idea of what morality is, but they don't really know what morality is. They're just surviving.
I guess you
And
could say that because
yeah,
you look at cats, they kill quick where wolves will just tear to tear.
I mean, it doesn't matter how they do it. Like I said, they're not moral agents. They're just doing things that have kept them alive. And I mean, children do things that are immoral, but that doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means that
Yep.
they don't understand, right?
Mhm.
So same thing with animals. We don't hold them to the same standard as us because they don't really understand all the nuances of their choices. They just know if I do this, I survive or I learn something. That's all they know.
Now,
And we've noticed when we take animals out of survival mode, they do show compassion and empathy and morality.
well, there's also symbiotic relationships within nature. right? And then there's parasitic.
Right. What we're talking about is morality, though, right? We're talking about why you think it's okay for you to demand animal products, and your reason was other animals do it. And my response is that animals are moral patients. We shouldn't be looking to them on what's moral because they don't even understand morality.
Well,
We as moral agents have a responsibility to, at minimum, not exploit moral patients. For example, I'm sure you agree, it's immoral for an adult to exploit a child, correct?
yeah,
Just because they're vulnerable, just because the kid might not be aware of their exploitation, still immoral for an adult to exploit a child, correct? I don't know if you're getting a call or something, you muted.
sorry, say that again. I just
So even if the kid is unaware of their exploitation, it would still be immoral for the adult to exploit the child.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm saying that there's no moral difference between that child and the animals we use. We don't need to use the animals. They're just as innocent. They have nociceptors, which are the nerve endings that we have in our flesh that tell us that we're experiencing excruciating pain. They have the same ones. Yep. So then why is it that we're causing them unnecessary harm and stealing their freedoms and lives when we don't need to?
It's the greed of the world. So like
absolutely. So what's stopping you from no longer being greedy then? Well, now that you know this.
That's the other thing that I was going to say. So when I do eat meat, I do pray for that animal because that animal was once alive, but it gives me
that's
life.
nice for you. That doesn't matter to the animal. Oh, they don't care. They're gone.
I don't know.
I mean, if I took your life, would it make you feel better that I prayed over your body?
Well, it depends why you took my life, right? That's morality.
Taste pleasure. Taste pleasure.
Taste pleasure. So you're going to eat my corpse? I'd think that's wrong. But in saying that, we're of the same species. Like pigs don't eat pigs, cows don't eat cows. Well,
they would if they're fed to them. But why do you? So I want to be clear. Why is it immoral for humans to eat another human? Why is that immoral?
I guess you could.
You muted again. I didn't mute you. I don't know what's happening. Oh, you left the app.
No, alarm went off.
Got it.
I guess you could use the conscious belief, but I do believe that all animals have a form of consciousness. Now we don't know how high that consciousness is. We don't know if they.
We know that they have we know that they have the capacity to feel suffering and joy. That's what sentience means.
Oh yes, but can they contemplate their own existence and the environment?
We have humans that can't do. We have humans that can't do that. We still respect those humans.
Exactly.
So I'm saying we should stretch that respect to animals. We shouldn't be putting animals on styrofoam plates and wrapping them in plastic. We shouldn't be putting our arms up animals so that they produce a baby and then milk afterwards. We shouldn't be doing this to anyone.
But
the best way to do that is to live vegan.
Do you agree with the native practices?
Are you native?
Partially.
Are you part of a nation?
Not within the government.
Okay. So you are not. This is not a topic. Go ahead, Lori. Yes.
No, I was going to ask him. I'm native. Do you live on a reservation?
I don't live on a reservation. The tribe that I come from was all slaughtered in the 1820s, and the church that held my great grandmother's birth records was burnt down to protect her identity.
What was that? What tribe were you with?
It would either be with the Beothuk or the Mi'kmaq of Newfoundland.
Okay.
They were the first place conquered by the British, and it was the most brutal to start the colonization, I should say. When they went more west, they got more brutal as they went.
Right. Exactly. Okay.
But, like, from my understanding, like, I'm not on a reservation. I don't have a tribe, you could say, to talk to. But from my understanding, they take an animal's life, they pray over the animal because that animal would then feed their family. Is that morally right or wrong?
Personally, my perspective, and I'm pretty sure most, if not all vegans agree with me, that culture does not justify violating someone's bodily autonomy. No culture but justifies that. If it's not for survival, then it's not justified to take someone's life.
Okay, so taste pleasure is wrong, but survival is right.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
would, if we weren't in civilization and it was like 4,000 years ago, you'd be okay
Yeah.
with eating meat.
If that's all I had, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I don't really know what I would do in that situation with my mindset now, because I
Yeah.
have more knowledge now. I might more just watch the animals that I know I share similar diets with and just watch what they eat and then eat what they eat and not use them. Because the thing is, it sounds like to me a lot of native nations thought the same way. They thought take only what you needed
Exactly.
and
They weren't
live
greedy.
within
They were
harmony.
respectful with the land.
So using animals when you don't need to sounds disrespectful, right? Like you're taking the lives of animals for taste pleasure,
Like
not survival.
I don't agree with what the corporations are doing today and how they're mass producing.
I mean, even backyard stuff. That's backyard slavery. You don't need it. We have all the alternatives. You're literally taking someone's life when you don't need to.
So like, wait, would this be okay for? If you
So
had
it's not
chickens
about
and
what
they're
I
laying
think is
eggs.
okay. I want to be clear. It's not what I think is okay. It's what you think is okay. Veganism is a principled stance against the exploitation of sentient beings. That means I don't want to demand someone's slavery. I recognize there's someone in there having a life. They care about what happens to them. Why should I be their slaver just because they're vulnerable to me?
Oh, that's the society we live in today.
But you have power. I understand we live in this society, but you have
100%.
power. So why not take advantage of that power and use your voice? You don't even need to speak up, but just use your power to just shift your demand. All I'm asking you is when you go in the grocery store, instead of grabbing the animal-based products, grab a plant-based product instead. That's it. That's all I'm advocating for.
Okay. And
Don't
obviously
and also,
educating.
I mean, that's just the diet aspect, but also don't use animals for entertainment. Don't buy cosmetics you know were rubbed in someone's eye when you don't need those cosmetics. You know? Don't go to the zoo. Don't go to the aquarium.
I haven't been to a zoo. The only aquarium that I know that's near me is actually they took it's right by a
Oh no, another alarm.
yeah, sorry. The only aquarium that's near me is there's a river that goes down and the foundation is built into the bank so you can see the natural trout spawning and swimming within the river.
Wow.
But no, like I agree with your stance. I do. But like I know that if I was living out in the wild, if I had a family, I would.
Sure, we can talk about anything that we want about survival, but I'm here telling you that in your day-to-day life right now, you don't need to use animals at all. That's all.
So,
and the reason is because they're sentient, just like you.
Yeah.
If you want your sentience respected, you have a moral obligation to not exploit others when it's unnecessary.
I want to see your stance on this. So if I had a garden with chickens and they were actually eating the insects within the garden and they were laying eggs, would it be wrong of me to eat the eggs?
Yes, because you're buying those chickens for their eggs.
Would it be better
so
if
when
I
you
took
buy
those eggs and
chickens,
use them as
so
fertilizer?
do you know
for my
anything
plants?
do you know about the history of chickens, like where they come from? So they're called the red jungle fowl, and they only laid about 16 eggs a year, and they were fertilized eggs. They didn't necessarily lay unfertilized eggs, because when you're living out in nature, you have to conserve your energy.
It's only unfertilized because they don't keep roosters in the hen house.
No. So that's actually not fully the case. Yes, they're not fertilized because they don't have a rooster. That is true. But they don't produce that many eggs just because there's not a rooster. They do that because we've genetically modified, which I want to be clear what that means. We took someone out of their home in the wild.
Yeah.
Okay, we took the red jungle fowl. We made them mate with an individual they wouldn't normally mate with. We decided who they were going to
So it was almost like us
funky with.
creating lemons.
But we did this with sentient beings. If we did that with humans, what would you call that? You call it grape, right? If you forced a randy man with a
Oh yeah,
woman
if you
and tied her
force two
down,
people, yeah.
that's what we did with chickens. We took a female chicken and we forced her to mate with a male chicken that she wouldn't normally mate with, so that she made a deformed baby that fit our needs. And we kept doing that. We kept essaying these animals so that their babies were more deformed. And domestication means that we've made them dependent on us. So we've taken someone out of the wild and we've handicapped their babies so that we can use them. Does that not sound messed up?
That is a little bit messed up, yes.
Yeah. So getting backyard chickens is perpetuating that. You go to a hatchery, you're saying, I want more of these individuals born into existence so that I can take advantage of the deformity that we've forced on them. It takes like 10% of their calcium to make each egg, so you have to make sure that they have a high calcium diet. Often, though, this is taxing on them, and they'll die by having their eggs, because the shells will get weaker as they get older, and they'll collapse inside their cloaca. They can die from that. And chickens are very delicate. They have tiny little delicate things in their body. For something like that to happen is an expensive vet visit. I imagine most people will not take their chicken to the vet.
So you wouldn't eat a foraged egg that was found?
Well, no, because I don't see animals as a resource for me. I don't need that egg. If I'm like, if you were to put it in a vacuum, there's an egg on the ground and you just happen to eat it. You don't really know what it is, but you know it's edible. That's not immoral. The immoral thing is we live in this world where we use animals, and when you see that egg, you think that's for me. That's the problem. Your mindset is animals are here for me. I can use whatever I want from them. Which is one thing if you're literally in survival mode, but that's not the case.
That's not the case, though. That's how some people
But I'm talking
do.
to you, right? I'm talking to one person at a time, and most people that I talk to have access to a grocery store, and I'm asking those people when they have choices to make the right choice.
All I know is I worked in Walmart meat department for a couple of years, but I was disgusted with how much waste we produced. So like,
yeah, but okay. So again, this is besides the point. This is besides the point. All right, the animals. The reason why we produce so much is because these animals are subsidized. The farmers are paid to produce, overproduce. And it wastes all of our resources. So if we're worried about food waste, we should stop using animals because they take way more, like tenfold resources than the plant produce that expires at the same rate. So if we care about expiring food and because of the resources that go into it, right? That's the bigger issue with food waste, is that we're not feeding our population, and this is also now creating a greenhouse gas, and we wasted all those resources to make that food, right? That's the issue with food waste.
I think the main mentality, now that we're talking about it, I think the main mentality that people have today is mainly it's there, why not get it?
Of course, there's convenience to it. That's why I'm talking to people. Most people don't know what they're supporting. Most people don't understand what supply and demand is. When you go into a store, even though you are one person, you're still demanding 100 to 300 animals a year go through that system. Well, if you take that demand away, they notice. They stop. They'll produce less if you stop demanding.
Like I can tell just from experience, 1 week working at the meat department at a Walmart, you throw away almost enough to make a cow.
Okay. I don't know what's your point though? Why does this mean that you can use animals?
No, I'm not using this as an argument to justify the use of animals. I'm using it as a point to clarify how much we are producing for greed.
Yeah.
Like so much.
We have starving children.
There's like almost a whole rotten cow thrown out a week. Like that is absolutely wild.
I mean, it's funny is you're not even seeing most of it. You're seeing at the end of the path, there's many animals that are unalived before they even meet the slaughterhouse.
Well, do you know where mad cow's disease comes from? I only found this out like a week ago.
Because they were feeding contaminated cow back to the cows.
Yeah, they take a dead cow, grind it up, and put it in their feed. And then
do you know where that comes from? Do you know where that comes from? Do you know what BSE is? It's Crohn's disease, which is the same disease we get if we eat human brain. What was happening is they were separating the brain and spinal cord, but doing it poorly. And there's a fluid in there that was spraying on the animal flesh. What was passing. Yep, spinal fluid. Because the Crohn's disease is more dense in the brain and spinal fluid.
Yeah, because
that's why they claim it's bad to eat humans, because we'll get Crohn's disease, but really it's the same level of warning with animals, or the same level of threat with animals or humans.
What I know is you can eat brains that isn't your species, and there's a chance it won't cause.
They haven't seen I don't think mad cow disease has jumped into humans, but the way that it happens is actually I don't know much about.
Like if you eat a human brain, it's a misfolded protein.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right? So it happens when you eat the same species brain as yours. So like if a chicken was to eat a chicken brain, it would get like mad cow for chicken, basically.
Right. So they've tried to clean that up. They're supposed to have slower kill or slaughter
I don't think
times.
it's right that they're feeding cows to cows.
I don't think it's right that they're breeding someone into existence at all. Even if you feed them grass and all the other positive things, the problem is we're taking someone's life. You're taking someone's freedom. You're force birthing someone into existence.
Do you think it's wrong to use horses for like any type of labor?
It's wrong to use animals when you don't need to. Period. Yeah, even riding horses.
That's your same view on pets, I'm assuming.
Of course, yes. If you have the ability to actually be a steward for someone that genuinely needs your care, that's admirable. That's totally fine and understandable from a vegan perspective, because you're giving someone care and respect and taking their best interest in mind, not yours. The difference between that and having a pet is someone who's shopping for a toy based off of certain genetic breeds, or even just in general, just to have a toy, right?
Okay.
If you're caring for someone, that's one thing, to genuinely give them a nice, happy life. It's another if you're just using them for your own needs.
Now, I had an actual, not epiphany, I'm not sure what you would call it, but it's a dilemma. There you go. I went into a pet store earlier today when I was dropping my cousin off at bowling, and I always hated how they produce betas, right? They keep them in little plastic cups and keep them on the shelf and everything. But there was 2 betas there, and they look like they're gonna pass soon. But like you could take those home and take care of them, but then they're just restocked.
Yep, I wouldn't buy them. Sometimes there are some Petcos or pet whatever stores that if you point out that the fish is dying, that they might let you just take the fish. But if you buy that fish, they're absolutely going to restock with another fish. So
like
you're
I even
not
went up
saving anyone.
I even went up to the counter and talked to the dude, right? Because this specific pet store is a corporation, so it spans across Canada. But I was like, you'd think that with the amount of money that they'd have, they could put in like a 90 or 120 gallon tank and put these fishes in it. But instead they keep it in the size of a cup.
Yeah, the betas are very competitive. They shouldn't be bred into existence.
No.
Like you sound like you have a great heart, but you keep focusing on welfare issues. What you should focus on is, why are they there?
Yes, and
why do they keep restocking them?
Greed.
Because
money.
People buy them. Right, yeah. Because people buy them. Because some people do feel bad for those fish, and they buy them, and then they you have to not buy them. You can do whatever else, just don't buy them. Don't support them. If you support them, they're just going to replace them.
Yeah.
I don't there are people that try to save cows and pigs and stuff from auction. They'll buy them at auction, but really they just paid the farmer to keep producing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So usually that's why ALF exists, the Animal Liberation Front, is because they go in and they directly just grab the animals, which is the only way to actually liberate them directly.
No.
Unless you talk to the farmer and they give the animals to you.
I want to know your opinion on this because this is one of my life experiences.
All right,
Um,
after this, I might move along just
yes,
because
ma'am.
we're
We
just
we
kind of
had a
going
good
through all these
conversation.
questions. And I do want to kind of get to the point. Like, I want to know why you're not vegan because I've been answering a lot of questions, but I want you to answer my questions.
Well,
Yeah.
like the main
You have two waiting too. Okay, just to let you know.
Yeah,
few more
I
waiting?
appreciate it. Thank
Okay.
you, Lori.
I got a turtle when I was in the 3rd grade. Now, she's 15 years old now, and she could live up to 80. I wouldn't surrender her because I love her, and she's in a good living condition.
Yeah,
But
I wouldn't
do
ask you to surrender her.
Hmm?
Oh, I wouldn't ask you to surrender her if you
Mhm.
are able to continue caring for her. Absolutely, you're her family now. But I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would advocate that you never buy turtles again.
But there was one in Ontario that I seen while I was doing work for my school. There was a turtle with 2 missing limbs. Now, would it be okay if someone took a disabled animal out of the wild to take care of them?
Not if they're surviving fine on their own. There's no reason to take them out unless they're absolutely not doing well. And
Like
even then,
rehabilitation.
it shouldn't be you. It should be like conservationists and professionals.
Okay.
Yeah. I think taking animals out of the wild is immoral. And I have a
Okay.
squirrel sanctuary over by me. And even then, I feel bad taking a squirrel from their family, even to get care, because they don't understand, right?
Yep.
So if
Yep.
they can survive, I wouldn't bother them.
I'd say the main reason I still eat meat is circumstance. And when my
Okay.
circumstance changes, I feel like, because you can get your protein from plants, like fucking silverback gorillas. I wish I had the genetics of a silverback gorilla where I could eat it.
You do.
Plant and consume 100% of the plant cell wall to get the protein.
I mean, so if you want to get the most nutrition, it would be to eat plants directly.
Mhm.
But I don't know if gorillas necessarily get 100% of everything that they eat. I think they just have a similar metabolism to us. The point is, though, you can thrive on plants.
Yep.
I would have your parents watch Dominion with you. Watch this movie. It's free on YouTube. Just have them watch it with you. And if you guys decide to go vegan together, you can reach out to Challenge 22 and they can help your parents meal plan. They can tell them based off of their budget and location, the foods that are available to them that meet all your nutritional needs that are within your budget, like I said. And it's all free. That's Challenge 22.
Parenthi lore, not all nutrients can be found in plants. The main nutrients actually that every human being needs is vitamin B6, which is a bacteria that grows in dirt. And the only reason we can get it without eating vegetables is because the animals that eat the dirt consume it, and then we consume them. That's the only
We can
reason
just take a vitamin, though.
Exactly. We can eat the plants with dirt on it and get vitamin B6.
I wouldn't advocate for that just because the sanitation that we've done isn't necessarily terrible. I would just say you could get B12 from nutritionally or fortified foods, or you can get it from mushrooms or tofu.
Well, like if
I
you encourage
encourage
potatoes or onions, you'd get it.
Sure, but maybe not in significant amounts. So I would go to Cronometer. You can type in the foods that you're thinking of, and it'll give you the macro and micronutrients of the food. You can put in a whole day's worth of meals, in fact. Just type them in, or you can scan stuff. It has a little ability to scan barcodes. Super easy and cheap, and you can find out what foods have the highest of anything. I would say, though,
it was B12, not 6.
Yes, and B12, like you said, is from bacteria. I encourage people to take a supplement. Everybody, omnivore or vegan, they found that most people have a deficiency in something. So it's not
100%.
terrible. Yeah,
Almost
supplementation is not the worst thing.
All disease that we have today is a lack of nutrition and a lack of movement. If you
most people don't know how to eat for sure.
Oh, yes. Like, hell, you go into, like, a dollar store and pick up a bag of chips. That's not healthy. That's not natural.
Well, I mean, again, I'm not here to, if you want to be healthy, that's fantastic. I'm just here to tell people don't use animals. That's all I care about. If you want to be healthy and vegan, that's what these are for. But yeah, obviously there's going to be choices that you have to make between healthy and not healthy, and that's for you to make. And if you need help, that's what the Challenge 22 is. Like I said, have your parents watch Dominion with you. Maybe even just Dairy is Scary. That one's only 10 minutes long. Just take a screenshot so you have these resources and bring it up to your parents. You'd be surprised. A lot of parents are actually very open-minded to stuff like this.
Oh, yes. Whoa.
Okay.
Beautiful. It was nice
All right.
talking
Well,
to you.
it was great talking to you, and you had a lot of great questions. If you watch Dominion or you watch it with your parents, please reach out to me, either DM
You
or
had a
come
lot of
out
great
onto another
points
live.
and a lot of
Thank
good
you.
answers.
Thank you. You had a lot of great questions. Lori, did you want to add something?
No. You're okay. I just was gonna let you know you have a person waiting.
Appreciate it.
Beautiful.
All right. I just Perry. You have a great day. Thank you for coming up.
You as well. Same with you, Lori.
Thanks. Have a good day.
I will.
All right. See ya. All right. Black Coffee Rip. I appreciate open-minded people. Thank you. That was fantastic. I like answering good questions. All right. Black Coffee Drip. Black Coffee Rip. I almost said drip. Are you over 18?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And
Why aren't you vegan?
Well, first, I am Latino, and most of my culture, it's built on not just like the food that I eat. For example, like most of, like, how can I say this?
Do you buy your own groceries?
Yeah.
Okay. So there are. If you want to be vegan. Do you want to be vegan? Do you know what veganism is?
Yes.
Go ahead and tell me what you think veganism is. Maybe we're on two different wavelengths.
You don't eat meat, and you don't believe in like animal cruelty.
That's pretty close. So veganism is a principled stance against the exploitation of sentient beings. So I don't want someone being enslaved, used, force birthed into existence for me. So with that in mind, like, what would stop you from leaving this conversation and living vegan from now on?
Well, I've been a hog farmer for 2 years and a half now, and that's the only thing that I've done like over the course of my years, like every summer job that I've had. And
yeah, I mean, you're only 18. You're still very young.
And so, like,
your life won't end if you don't take another farmer job.
But at the same time, where I live in a small town, and we live through those jobs. For example, Butterball, they have a lot of companies.
Yeah, I know they exploit people that are desperate for jobs.
And I don't know. Like my mom, she was a single mom, taking care of.
Yes, but your mom probably would have done any job to take care of you, right?
Yeah.
Did she strive and want to work at a slaughterhouse or with animals like that? Or did she just want to make an income to give you a good life?
I'd say she just wanted to give me a good life.
Right. So the animal exploitation is not your savior. If anything, it's probably what's holding your community back, because I'm sure they don't pay well. And they just probably held you there in those jobs, right? Like, does anybody actually live well in those companies?
Well, my mom, she came to this country illegally, right? So when she came here, she couldn't speak Spanish, and she became like
English.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she was like bottom, right? Like in the very bottom, and over the years, she worked in the pig farm industry for 32 years, and now she's I don't know how to say it. She's like at the very top, and she is the manager of 2 hog farm houses, and she makes
a
lot of money.
So, does it feel good to take the life of those hogs?
So, that question I used to ask myself a lot, because growing up, I did watch the Minion, and I had to do those things, right? But then I was like, well,
did it feel good?
no, but then I
Right.
was like,
If you
well,
if you didn't have to do it, would you have still done it anyway? Would you have stabbed
no,
animals? Right.
no,
Exactly. So it's not animal agriculture that you're defending. It's just having an income and livelihood, right?
yeah,
So if you genuinely wanted to stop using animals because you recognize that they're a sentient being and they don't deserve to be enslaved, you would recognize that yes, your mother is the top of two farms, but they're two slave farms. And if she wanted to genuinely stop, there are resources that could help her transition away and still be a successful woman.
it's just I
If
don't
I
know.
gave you those resources, would you find it to be a moral obligation to live vegan?
I mean, yeah, it's just I kind of feel like when people say like the
So the answer
term,
is no.
that it's just I'm kind of off on and off, because it's just
Well,
I
so
don't
the
think
reason why I'm
it's
standing
funny,
up for
right?
those pigs is because they're sentient. They were forced into existence just to be used for taste pleasure, to have a knife dragged across their throat so that they bleed out and they don't get to have any more experiences. That's what your farm does. And
But
that's
that's the thing,
immoral.
though.
If you did that to humans, no
We
one
don't
would
do that.
care that your mother is the top of that farm. They would say abolish slavery, correct?
Yeah,
Right. So I understand that someone has a livelihood on the line, but you're literally taking someone's life for taste pleasure. What if it were dogs? Would you be okay with your mom being the head of two dog farms? Sends dogs to go be unalived in gas chambers? That's how we stun pigs. We put them in gas chambers.
yeah, yeah. I know. Of course not. I
So,
mean, I
so
wouldn't.
if we did that with dogs, would that be different for you? Would you think that's wrong?
Yeah.
Why?
Well,
I
first,
agree with you, but why?
because throughout society, right, dogs have always been a man's best friend,
I mean, it's
and
an animal. What's the difference? Just because we've labeled one as a pet, people have pigs as
yeah,
pets.
yeah, but
People have
not.
pigs as pets.
Yeah, but that's not most people, though, is it?
Why does it have
Most
to do with
people.
most people? So it is literally an arbitrary line for you. It's just because you know that dogs have personalities and you don't, if you don't interact with pigs, you don't understand how similar they are to dogs.
I've I've interacted
Pigs are the
with pigs
fifth
for 2 years
smartest
and a half.
animal. Yeah, but you don't know them. You see them as a mass. It'd be like working around masses of humans and thinking, I know that human individually, even though you don't interact with them one on one. You
That's
interact
the
with them as a
beauty.
mass.
That's the beauty about being human, though. Because look,
So what's wrong with
what if,
doing this to dogs?
because I know that a dog is a pet and a pig is not.
But what does that matter? Why does it matter that a dog is a pet? What does that matter? Do you care that the dog is having a subjective experience? Do you care that if they experience suffering and they don't understand that they'll be confused and even more traumatized, and that's immoral to cause an animal unnecessary suffering? Do you agree with that? Oops. Like, I'll make it simpler. Let's say I have a dog next to me and I have them tied up so they're immobilized, but I'm going to kick them for exercise and entertainment. Is that moral?
No.
All right, I agree with you. Why? Why is that immoral?
Well, because that's just, I don't know, that's just disgusting, I'd say.
Right, it's disgusting because you know that dog can suffer and that
Yeah.
I'm causing that dog unnecessary suffering. I can kick something else, right? If it were me tied up, I would want to be respected. I wouldn't want to be kicked for entertainment and exercise, right? You wouldn't want to be kicked. You wouldn't want to be tied up and kicked for someone else's exercise and benefit, right?
No.
Right. I'm telling you that we have the same interests as the dog, as the pig, as the cow, as the chicken. Just because they don't look like you and they don't exactly think about the exact same things as you doesn't mean that it's morally okay what we do to them. We've been brought up to just accept it. But I'm telling you, look again. Look again. You already feel this way with dogs. And there's no moral difference between a pig and a dog.
I don't get it because it's the thing though.
So let's change my scenario. Let's say instead of a dog being tied up for me to kick, it's a pig or a cow. It's a cow. Is it morally okay now that I kick this cow for my entertainment and exercise?
No, because there's no point to it.
Okay, so you agree then that the animals we use have a similar capacity to suffer to a dog, right? Kicking a cow for fun is not right because they're going to experience suffering and it's unnecessary, right?
Yeah, but if I kill a pig or a cow,
okay, it's a pig, and I'm kicking the pig for entertainment. I'm kicking the pig for entertainment and exercise. Is that moral?
No.
Right. Again, because they have the same capacity as the dog to feel that kick and experience pain and suffering. So what's the difference between you, like, if anything, you are escalating the violence by removing their head. I'm just kicking them for exercise. They're going to live another day. Sorry, they're, I don't know why they're leaf blowing. It's raining outside, but they apparently need to blow some leaves around. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I'm just telling you that the pigs, the cows, the chickens, the dogs, the cats, they all have the similar capacity to suffer. And I'm telling you, the way that you respect dogs is the way you should respect all animals, including the pigs at your mother farms. They also want to live. They have the same capacity to suffer. We don't need to use them. It's slavery. Go ahead, Lori.
And I just want to say they are more intelligent than dogs. So, you know, they're no different. They may look different, but they're no different.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So, are humans animals?
Humans are animals, yes.
So, why is it that when somebody, right, they get in an argument, they say, "Hey, let's not act like animals," right? What do you think that
They're
is?
just saying act like an adult. Don't act like a moral patient. Act like a moral agent. You have responsibility. You can weigh out what's right and wrong. Children and animals are moral patients. They might have some idea of what morality is because they're very intelligent, but they don't fully understand it yet. So they're moral patients. They're vulnerable to us. And as moral agents, we have a moral obligation, at minimum, to not exploit those that are vulnerable to us, like children. I'm sure you would agree. Doesn't matter the situation, an adult should not exploit a child.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm telling you the animals are no different. They're just more vulnerable to us and they can't speak, you can't understand them. That's it. There's no moral reason to use animals.
It's just I hate it when people say humans and animals are the same, because
we're not, but none of the humans are the same either, right? All humans are unique. We have different intelligence, we have different preferences, different strengths, right? We're no two humans are exactly the same. Even identical twins have unique preferences. So I'm saying that we have huge variety within the human species itself. You know, the reason why we care about humans is because when you look at another human, you see yourself. You know that other human is having an experience. Animals just look different, so it's a little harder for us to naturally relate to them. But they are absolutely having a subjective experience. We have behavioral studies. We have other scientific studies. We've looked into their flesh and our flesh. We share similar nerve endings. You know, we know that what they're experiencing is at least they can experience subjective feelings like pain, joy, suffering, happiness. They make preferences. They have a toy they prefer, you know. just like a dog. They don't need to serve us. They're just here. We've unfortunately forced a lot of them into existence, but now that they're here, we shouldn't be violating them.
Yeah, I get that. It's just,
And I understand from your perspective, that's a big change, especially if your mother is head of those 2 farms. So I would suggest going to Rowdy Girl Sanctuary. Look up Rowdy Girl Sanctuary on TikTok. She has a project that's called the Ranchers Advocacy Project, which a program, and it's supposed to help people that are farming animals or farming animals for their resources, whatever, to help transition to something else, using your land for something else, just steering away from animals. Because that's a huge change, especially farmers who are invested in a lot of like equipment and land and everything else. So that's why I always point to Renee with Rowdy Girl Sanctuary. They used to be a ranch themselves, and Renee fought her husband to turn into a sanctuary, and now they're helping other farms transition into maybe a sanctuary, but just whatever you want away from animals. And they're super helpful, and they're tentatively waiting for people to reach out to them. I know that they're sometimes here in my live, and they'll sometimes reach out to you right after the live. But if they don't, I would look up either the Ranchers Advocacy Program or Rowdy Girl Sanctuary. Either way, you'll get a hold of Renee.
okay, well, one more. Can I ask you
Sure.
one more question before I go?
Please.
What about
Yeah.
my culture? For example, I'm Mexican, right? And
Mhm.
all my people where I live, there's a very strong Latino community, right? Our culture has a lot of
Yeah.
food is
Yeah,
based on like
all cultures do. I come from Germanic background, and they're heavy in using animals as well. All cultures usually do have animal use in them. You can still have culture without violating someone's bodily autonomy, though. There are vegans that are from Mexico, that absolutely recreate traditional dishes. I would just look up vegans that are in your area, because you'll absolutely find them. You shouldn't have to give up culture to live vegan. You should be able to be vegan within your culture.
Well, are you okay with hunting? Like, for example, hunt
No.
with the only thing you're gonna eat? No.
So survival situations are, of course, one thing. If someone is in survival mode, I'm never going to hold something against them that helped them survive. If someone is in a situation where they shop at a grocery store or a farmer's market, they have choice. They have time to weigh out their options. I'm not for people that get all geared up and, get fancy guns and sit out in the middle of the forest covered in deer pee for hours. I don't consider those people doing it for survival. They're doing it for fun. And that is immoral, to take someone's life for entertainment.
Well, I gotta go, but it was very nice
Yeah,
talking
I
to
really
you.
appreciate your questions. If you could, did you say you watched Dominion? I would watch this. It's a free documentary on YouTube, and it just tells you the standard practices for the globe, not just like it's actually filmed in Australia, but they've went to different countries. So this is the standard practice across the world about how animals are treated for grass-fed, free range, small local slaughter farms, or slaughterhouses and farms. You should know what those labels mean if you're going to continue to support them. And that's Dominion. That's free on YouTube. And if you watch it, I would love to talk to you afterwards. If you had any change in your thoughts or feelings, I would love to hear from you.
Oh, okay. It was well. I guess I'm gonna watch it when I get home. See.
Yeah, please. Yeah, definitely. And like I said, shoot me a message. Tell me, did it change your mind or did it not?
Which I'll be honest. I slaughter a lot of pigs like daily,
Sure.
but in
Yeah, but
my
knowing
head,
that you don't have to do that, doesn't that change it? Like, I'm sure you thought it was a necessary evil, right?
Yeah, but like in my head, I'm always like, at least it's me doing it. Like at least I'm like, I have empathy.
Yeah, I could see that you mean that you're gonna make sure that you don't miss your mark.
Yeah, because when I
That's
do it,
that's fine, but you're still taking someone's life. It just also slaughterhouse workers in general tend to have higher PTSD. The violence around those areas tends to go up when a slaughterhouse is installed somewhere. Alcohol use and drug use are increased from people that are working at slaughterhouse. Domestic violence is up for people that work in slaughterhouses. So these places are not just bad for animals, they're also bad for people in general. And as you already pointed out, they often prey upon people who don't have any other option. Because I'm sure your mother, if she had an option, she would have picked something else.
oh yeah, you're right with that one because there's a lot of, for example, a lot of illegal immigrants. There's always there.
There's a lot of abuse to people.
Yeah,
Those farmers know what they're doing. They take advantage of people that have no other choices, and they abuse them to the full extent that they can, and it's gross.
well, you know what? Now that I'm here, I'm gonna share a little bit of information. Um, so I just started to work there, right? Which I was born in the United States, right? But there was a woman who has been working there for 43 years now,
Mm-hmm.
and I get paid more than she does because I was
Well,
born here. Yeah.
yeah, that's unfortunate. Yep. I am not particularly proud to be an American right now. This country really disgusts me. I don't have a way out though. I'm not
But that's the
rich,
thing,
so
though.
I can't leave, but yeah, I'm watching this shit show unfold and it is terrible.
What's the thing though? It's just over here they already know. They don't complain because they know that when they come over here, they know that that's what they get. Like for example, that's
Yeah, that's not fair. That's trauma in itself right there that they have to like build up that wall. But I want to be clear. I'm here to talk about advocate
yeah.
for the animals. I think most people that at least follow me are on the same side as me as far as human rights. That people that there's no such thing as an illegal human. We're all immigrants, especially if you have fair skin. Absolutely an immigrant. You were not. Your family didn't originate from here, and so I think that it's disgusting that we're looking at anybody that's coming in to our country and deeming them as bad people, and that's wrong. But like I said, most people that follow me, I feel like I'd be speaking into a void because they all agree with me that, we need everybody in our country. Like, we all play a part and we need to improve so that we're all comfortable and happy and not, facing arbitrary discriminations, But I feel also if we stopped looking at animals as objects, because that's where it kind of starts in my mind. When you see that there are traits that you can arbitrarily pick to discriminate for pleasure, it just works its way up to humans, Well, these humans are not as rich or as intelligent or something, therefore it's okay that I exploit them, So we do this so basically with animals, it just makes sense that we would then use this pattern elsewhere in how we interact with other sentient beings. So I advocate for peace. We should not be using arbitrary traits that morally mean nothing. All that matters is the ability to experience life and a capacity to experience subjective feelings like joy and suffering. If someone has a capacity to suffer, that should be reason enough to not cause them unnecessary suffering. There shouldn't be any other justification or any other bar that they have to meet. They're experiencing life, that's enough.
Well, thank you very much for
Yeah. I appreciate you coming up here. And even though we talked about some animal centric stuff, or excuse me, human centric stuff, it still points that vegans are against exploitation of all sentient beings, including humans. I think it's disgusting to exploit humans, even in the minute way that we do. Like, you still, as a human, you're not exploited like the animals in that you can still move around, you can leave that job. I mean, there's going to be consequences, right? But there are things that you can do. You're not absolutely, there's not a gun or a pew pew held to your head, whereas animals have no choice. They're born into the system that they're in, and they will be unalived at someone else's pleasure, someone else's idea of when it's time for them to go. And that is immoral. I would not want to live under that. I would rather be exploited at this extent. I still think that this is wrong, the level that humans are exploited at right now. But I'd rather be this kind of exploited by an employer, not exploited by an enslaver, because that's your bodily autonomy just gone.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So that's why I advocate for the animals. I still speak up for humans, but I just feel that most humans will agree that, you know, human rights are important and that they should be respected. And if someone doesn't believe in human rights, I often kick them because it's like, well, where are we going from here? Anyway. All right. Well, I appreciate you being up here and letting me monologue at you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like I said, watch Dominion with your parents and then reach out to me.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, you have a great day. Thanks for coming up. Bye. Oh, I didn't ask him my last question. How many animals do you want exploited for you? I understand you're still living with your parents, but if the answer is 0, then you'll try everything you can, including talking to your parents. And if your parents are not willing to listen and they're going to force you to eat whatever they make, I would just live under their rule until you can make your own choices. But you have to want to be vegan. Veganism is not a gang, it's not like, what are the rules? It's more like, what are your principles? Do you want to support exploitation and oppression, or do you want to just live your life and not cause harm unnecessarily?
Just let you know you have 2 waiting.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey, Em, are you over 18?
Hi, yes, I'm 20.
Right on. So why aren't you vegan?
Well, you see, I think that's a really not deep question. You should state it something like, why is killing animals for food ethical or moral? Because
so
I
I'm not just talking about food. I'm talking about all use of animals. Okay.
Yeah, because then, I could just say, yeah, I'm not vegan because animals, I find them yummy,
Sure. Yeah, most people do say taste pleasure, but I would then say back that humans supposedly taste like pig, which means we can make human bacon. Got lots of humans, and they pollute, they cause a lot of violence. Why not make human bacon?
Yeah, before we start, I just want to address something. I really don't want the conversation to go that way, and I don't want to offend anyone, but I just want to clarify, because I was listening for about half an hour, and from what I can hear, from your views, from your standpoint, you must be pro-life, right? Not pro-choice.
That has nothing to do with our topic. I'm so sick of people bringing that up.
Right, yeah.
There are pro-life and pro-choice vegans, so it has nothing to do with veganism. All right, Sir Pepe?
Sir Pepe, yeah.
Pepe. All right, so are you over 18?
Yes, I'm 24.
Right on. Why aren't you vegan?
I don't have that preference.
Okay, so what's stopping you from living? Do you know what veganism means?
Is it the opposition to the exploitation and suffering of sentient creatures?
Yes, it is. It is.
Yes.
So why aren't you against the exploitation and oppression of sentient beings?
In some cases I am, but I think we just have a different understanding of, ethical frameworks, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, like, I understand if you accept what the definition I gave earlier to be true, the logical conclusion would be veganism. I think we can both agree on that. What I'm at a loss for is, how do you guys determine that is what is right and wrong?
Oh, because I'm sentient and I don't want to be exploited.
Right. And I understand that.
If I had my head bumped and I'm no longer able to have conversations with people but I'm still sentient, right? I can still like play with toys. I can I have the cognition of like a 2 or 3-year-old, right? I would still have inherent rights, correct?
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I mean, this is so. Is it just an arbitrary what you choose to be right and wrong?
No.
This isn't arbitrary.
Arbitrary?
Yeah, like man, this this isn't something you just decided to be right and wrong.
I'm saying that you and I probably share similar principles. Like, let me give you an example. Let's say I have a dog right next to me, and I'm asking about your moral preferences. I have a dog next to me. They're tied up. I'm going to kick them for my exercise and entertainment. Do you think that that's moral for me to do that?
No, not at all.
Okay, I agree. Why do you think that's immoral?
Well, it's just I like dogs, and I prefer you wouldn't do that to the dog.
So this is a homeless dog, doesn't have an owner. Does that matter?
No, it's just I like dogs. I wouldn't unless the dog is aggressive towards you.
But why do you? But okay, do you like plants at all? Are there any plants that you prefer? Like, do you like flowers? Do you think flowers are pretty?
Yeah, I think flowers are pretty. Yeah.
So I have a flower. I have a flower here tied up, and I'm going to kick the flower for entertainment. Are you concerned for the flower the way that you would be concerned for the dog?
No, I don't have that.
Exactly. So even though you have a preference to like dogs, you recognize that there's something special about the dog that's different from the flower, and that is the capacity to feel suffering. Okay, I have a cow here, and they're tied up, and I'm going to kick them for exercise and entertainment. Is that now moral?
No, not under my view. No.
Why is that immoral?
Because that's just needless. At that point.
Needless what? Needless what?
You're not slaughtering the animal for meat.
So if I eat the animal after I've beat them up, it's moral?
Sure.
So you don't believe in any animal welfare laws? You think that it's okay for people to kick cows?
Yeah, if they want to.
Stab them with sharp objects?
Yeah, if they want to, sure.
But if it were dogs, it'd be different?
Yeah. I've explained that my ethical framework is based off
that
preferences.
Is super arbitrary, and it's
exactly
similar. It's similar though to racism in that you're literally saying that these are my value circles, and if you're outside my value circles, I don't have to respect your autonomy, and that's what the schmatzis did to the Jewish community. So gross, buddy. Be careful what you're advocating for. You're literally advocating for supremacy being your guiding star of morality. That's gross. I don't understand. I just don't understand people where they think that they're owning me by saying I'm okay with torturing animals. That's mind-blowing. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to people that say it's okay to stab an animal just for fun.
Right.
It's terrible.
Or after you beat it up, you can kill it. That's crazy.
That is so crazy. Yeah. Like, most people agree that factory farming is horrible because of the abuse.
Right.
And then he's like, no, it's morally right. Well, buddy, you're one of very few people. And I would say you need to talk to, exactly, some name. Yes, I would agree with that statement. They genuinely are removing their compassion for somebody's suffering because they deem this individual lesser than them. Like, I don't think he understands that he is being like, because I'm in power, it's okay for me to exploit the vulnerable. Like, there's no difference then between an adult taking advantage of a child, right? They're still vulnerable to you. They may not understand what's happening to them. Still immoral for you to do that.
Right.
Yes, Sir Pepe, you are emotional. It's really sad.
Hello.
Hi, Blizzy. Are you before you continue though? Can you please answer? Are you over 18?
Yes, I am 22.
Okay. So why aren't you vegan?
The reason I'm not vegan, I know it's taste pleasure, but I like the taste of meat, and I've been around meat for the rest of my life, really.
Yeah. I mean, most of us have, So what is it that's stopping you from recognizing animals are sentient?
What's stopping me recognizing? Because to be honest, we've been eating meat for 10,000s of years, so I don't
Okay,
think
so
there's.
in America, slavery was around for hundreds of years.
Well, wait,
Should
you
it have
can't compare
continued?
slavery and animals. That's
I can
not
compare two
comparable, man.
atrocities. I can compare an apple
Well,
and an orange if I
but some
wanted
people
to.
might find that offensive when you say that.
That's great. I'm talking to you, Blizzy. I'm talking about sentient beings being used without their consent for someone else's pleasure. So what are you supporting?
What am I supporting? Because I don't see the similarity between a human and an animal, because
Can you point to me the difference? What's the moral difference, Blizzy?
Right. So animals, they live on the instinct of survival. Us,
so do humans.
We use our brains more, and we have a conscience.
Oh, Blizzy, you have a great day. I don't really care to talk to you. You're not listening. Animals don't need to be super intelligent. They're surviving a harsh environment. All right, damaged goods. Are you over
How's it
18?
going? Yes, I am.
Good. Perfect. Why aren't you vegan?
For two reasons. One, I think it's inconvenient given the day and time, and I see your guys are trying to change that, which I can understand. And the second reason, I don't think animals are equal to humans, but I still think they deserve to be treated ethically, which means minimizing suffering and
Why?
avoiding cruelty.
Why?
Because eating meat isn't immoral if it's done with respect, responsibility,
But why
and
care
ethics.
about animal welfare?
I mean,
So is it because causing them unnecessary harm is immoral?
yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
So knowing that you can thrive not using animals means that using animals is unnecessary and you're unaliving them for entertainment
Well, yeah, but I don't
reasons.
think.
So would that
animals are
not
equal to
just
humans.
be, so what's the difference between you using animals for food and me just unaliving animals for the fun of unaliving them?
I mean, you could do that. I mean,
What's the moral difference though? Would you think I'm a
Because I
moral
don't
person
think-
if I was doing that?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I don't think they're equal to humans, so it doesn't matter.
I never said that. I said that
Yeah.
we don't need to cause animals unnecessary harm. We don't need to force them
I
into
agree.
existence just to take their life. So why
No.
are you demanding that?
I'm not demanding it.
Do you know what supply and demand is?
I don't think it matters.
Do you know what supply and demand is?
Yes.
Do you think supply and demand matters? Do you think companies watch what you purchase?
Yeah. Of course.
So you have a lot more power than you're giving yourself credit for. You, as a non-vegan, consume 100 to 300 animals a year. If you took that demand away, that's huge. They'll notice that. They don't want to lose money. They'll decrease how many animals they breed into existence because you removed your demand. That's
Okay,
huge.
well-
Imagine 100 animals standing behind you. That's a
I
lot of
get that.
individuals.
No, I
Okay,
get
now
that.
I want you to also imagine you are an individual. Imagine standing in a crowd of other humans.
Come on, man.
Someone on the
You're-
outside.
I get those.
Someone-
I agree with you. The one
So
thing
you
that
still
I would like to
have
ask-
a personal subject. I don't think you do. I need you to listen. You are still having a subjective experience even though you're in a crowd of humans. What happens to you matters to you. The same thing with a cow, a pig, a
Yeah,
chicken.
I
Even
understand,
though
but
they're
they're
in
not
mass
equal to
sheds,
humans, though.
they still care what happens to them. So
Well,
even
can I
if they're
ask,
on a
are you-
backyard farm, even if they are on a backyard farm, they still meet the same end. And they have what are called nociceptors, which are the nerve endings that tell us we're experiencing extreme pain. So when you see a knife going across their throat, it feels the same to them as it would to us.
Okay, can I ask? Or do you believe that animals are equal to humans?
That's not what I said. They're morally the same, but we're all different.
Well, that's
we're
what
even
I'm
different
asking.
within. Would you say two humans are exactly the same?
I don't get where that's going. What do you
Would
mean?
two
Yes,
humans
in
be
terms of
exactly the
equal?
same?
In terms of
No.
equalness, yes.
Are they? Yeah. Are they the same exact intelligence?
No,
Are they the
they
exact
can't.
same talented?
Not
Are they the
necessarily.
exact same height? Are they exact
No,
same weight?
but they're still equal.
Exactly. We
they're still
vary
equal,
in
though.
our damage. Listen, you need to listen. We still care for humans that will not contribute to society, that are not intelligent, that are still sentient, but maybe not sapient. Do you know what sapience means? means to
Yeah,
think
but that
about
doesn't
thoughts.
matter because
So
they're
we
still
have
not
humans
equal
that
to
have the
input.
cognition damage. We have humans that are of the cognition of animals. There's no moral difference then. Yeah, exactly. You're not listening. I'm trying to tell you that we have humans that function similar to they just exist, just like you and me. They don't need a purpose. They're just existing. We recognize that humans are sentient. They're having an experience. And we all recognize it would be immoral to use a human who maybe is not sapient but is sentient. I'm telling you, the animals, just because they have a different shaped body and they think a little different, they're still morally the same. They have the capacity to suffer. I didn't cut him off. Winter night, come on down. I might call it here though, because I have to use the restroom. You might be my last guess. And this TikTok takes forever.
Yeah, you have another one in the queue too.
Okay. Well, I'm going to drop Winter Night for now. I'm going to use the restroom real quick because I'm going to pop. So if you want to answer questions in the chat, I'll be right back.
No problem.
The shopping center does have several cameras here, so that could help with this investigation. Anyone with any information, though, is encouraged to contact the LAPD. Reporting here in Boyle Heights, I'm Erin Myers, KTLA 5 News.
Your lawmaker has introduced a new bill to extend the last call for bars in civic centers, asking for bars in downtown areas to serve alcohol. Assembly member Matt Haney says AB 342 would finalize struggling downtown areas. The bill would create hospitality zones where the extended hours would be allowed. Haney says conventions and tourists back areas.
This isn't about politics, Dave.
After the pandemic, the way that our to bring people back could not.
Last September, Governor Newsom signed a law about potential for
Sun Valley. As part of a grassroots called Stay in LA. Local state. A year, approved by the legislature, the increase in as early as this July.
The bird, why don't you come up and talk to us if you think we're crazy?
I'm back. Oh,
okay.
There we go. Anyone fun?
No, the bird's talking up a storm, so but we're crazy. You know,
No.
so. I wonder if she'll come up.
Is it crazy to advocate for someone's rights to not be violated? That's crazy, right? That's not crazy.
I ain't wasting a breath on liberals. I said it wasn't political a while ago.
I mean, you're in here wasting your time already. Like, what are you talking about? Let's see. We'll bring up Dan.
Yeah, he's been waiting.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah. Are you over 18?
Yes, I'm 20.
Okay. So why aren't you vegan?
Well, primarily, I am not vegan because humans are designed to eat meat and plant matter as well. Animals still eat each other, and given that, they do that,
so
I believe that
humans,
it is a...
Humans can thrive on plants. We don't need to use animals. What was the other excuse you said?
Excuse?
Or reason, sorry. I love the mewing in the back. That is adorable. Somebody wants cuddles. Oh, your kitty in the background.
Actually, he's caterwauling because the other one just had a baby.
Oh.
So,
yeah,
not really much I can do about it.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I just was observing. So you said that humans need animal flesh, right?
Not necessarily that they need it. They're designed to be able to consume both.
Yeah. No, I
from
agree.
both animal
I agree.
meat as well.
But we
as
don't
plant
need
matter.
to. But we don't need to is the point.
True. Necessarily, we don't necessarily need to do anything really. But that's not.
So
that's
if we can avoid enslaving someone, shouldn't we do that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now,
well, that's what veganism is for. We're against the enslavement of sentient beings. So what I would suggest, it sounds like you might not know totally what the animals go through. I would watch Dominion on YouTube. It's free. And then you can come back at me and tell me, why you still support it.
Okay, I'll be back.
I would love that. Awesome. Yeah, and if I'm not live, I'll probably go live tomorrow, actually. I wasn't going to, but I'll probably go live tomorrow about 3 p.m. tomorrow. And if you've watched it and you want to come up and talk to me about it, I would love that. If maybe you want to just private message me, that's fine too. But yeah, I would love to hear from you and see if your mind has changed and what you think about it, if you still want to support it.
All right, sure.
Awesome. I love it, Dan. All right, well then I'll see you when you get back.
Okay.
All right, thanks. I gotta say, I really appreciate people going to look at resources. If I'm gonna,
hopefully,
sorry,
I'm saying if they're sincere about it, and hopefully he was.
Hopefully, he came. Yeah, as I say, he came up, and that was the first thing we talked about. So I feel confident that that's what he'll do. Hopefully, but
hopefully,
yeah. I wanted to respond. You said there was someone. You read the Bible? I don't know about the Bible. The Bible, even the Bible still says respect animals.
Yeah.
Starting at $30 a month, backed by the Spectrum commitment to keep you connected.
How many
animals are sentient? You cannot prove to me whether or not someone has a soul. And I'm pretty sure the Bible says, the soul, I'm pretty sure, is the breath of life that God breathes into us. And it's said in the Bible, the same breath is breathed into the animals. So I would think if that's the evidence of the soul, that animals then have souls based off of your text.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This has
awesome,
nothing
Dan.
to do with religion.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with religion or politics. So we don't care what the Bible says.
Yeah. White Rabbit, if you want to quote me. Yeah.
And they're done that.
White Rabbit keeps saying that the Bible, people sacrifice animals in Bible times. Watch Christspiracy. Maybe I shouldn't even bother arguing about it. Exactly. Thank you, Dan. That's exactly what I said. But go watch Christspiracy. It actually talks about veganism and religions. It's not about debunking religions. It's about how people's beliefs were manipulated and used against them. And personally, if I was religious, I would want to know that I'm being manipulated.
Right. I'd want to know, and I do know where religion started, and it was not 2,000 years ago.
No.
And who it was started by, and who it continued by, wasn't a sky fairy. That's what people need to do. They need to research. Because if I found it, anybody can find it.
Exactly. The information is out there. That's the other thing is we have so much information at our fingertips right now. It's you shouldn't take anybody on the internet for their word. You should go research, go find out for yourself if what I'm saying, what Lori's saying, what any other vegan is saying is crazy or not. Genuinely look into the information. Watch videos. look at my resources, especially nutritionfacts.org. They go over the studies themselves and they talk about, what is healthy and what does it mean to be healthy.
Right. Yeah.
White rabbit. You could be being manipulated and you just don't know it.
Yeah. Totally manipulated.
Yeah. There are actually quite a few biblical figures, but I'm not a super religious nut. I just know that most religions preach peace and honestly even have repercussions for abusing animals. And if that's the case, then why are you using them when you don't need to? Yeah, again, that was a different time where they used animals for survival. We're not then, we're now. Sorry, Lori, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, Rod can come up if he thinks, right here, he said, you can tell me the sky was blue and wouldn't trust her. I haven't said anything that you can't trust. Rods and...
I mean, that just tells me that Rods and Rifles is saying, I'm ignorant and I will never learn.
Right.
Yeah. That's not something you should be proud of, my friend.
I didn't do anything to cause mistrust, too.
I mean, Lori, you've barely spoken today. How can they even say that? They're clearly just trying to troll you. Like, that's crazy. We don't need to use animals. We could stop using animals and be just fine. In fact, we would progress immensely because we wouldn't be using up all this land. Our planet would naturally sequester carbon. We could feed everybody a nutritious, full calorie diet, everybody, and then some.
Exactly.
You can't agree with both perspectives. This person says, I'm not vegan. I'm actually a farmer. I don't think vegans are crazy. I agree with both perspectives. You can't agree with both. It's either it's okay to violate someone's bodily autonomy or it's not. Right? There's just...
Either or. You can't have both.
No. Exactly. Adam and Eve were plant-based in God's ideal existence of the garden. Exactly. Sorry, I'm really behind. Whoa. The animals, we can put them in sanctuaries. Plant-based is a diet. Veganism is a principled stance against exploitation. Why would the principled stance be bad? Hunting is not a good thing to do. It's not healthy. If we saw a child harming animals for fun, we would think that's not healthy. You cannot agree with both. I don't know where you are. What would we do with all the animals? I already said it. We could put them on sanctuaries. A cow is a someone. Supplement industry is already booming without vegans. All people are deficient in something. Most people, I should say, not all, but most people are deficient in some kind of vitamin. Supplementation is not the enemy.
Right.
Oh, I see a little one here. Ken, come on down. You got to be over 18. Hey, are you over 18?
Only one that eats meat here. Yeah, I like eating.
Okay, I genuinely could not understand you. You're going to come up here and troll me. Make sure you got your words ready. My shoes, my clothing, my food. I don't use any animal byproducts.
Yeah.
Your sentence structure is a little weird there. Why aren't you not vegan? Like, why did I become vegan? Because I recognize animals are sentient and that we're causing them unnecessary harm by using them.
Yeah, but you are vegan, so that question doesn't make any sense.
I know, I'm like, what? Well, they're saying, why aren't you not vegan? So why am I vegan? Because it's a double negative.
Yeah.
So it's like, that question's silly. Are oysters vegan? I would say no. I'm sure that's a gray area in the vegan community, but I don't know why it's not more of a thing among more vegans to err on the side of caution, because oysters do have ganglia, which means there's a potential that they are experiencing life and making preferences. They do run away, they go boop, 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 boop.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So I just personally, I err on the side of caution. If I was living near the coast and I was potentially going to die, I would probably seek those out first. Yeah, because, it'd be the least harm I could cause if I couldn't figure out what plants to eat.
Right.
A cow is a someone, they're having a subjective experience. Yes, our definitions are human-centric, but there was a time when our definitions were race-centric as well, white-centric. And we were labeling not just actually people of color, but even women, just women, as less than human. So we have updated those definitions since then, right? Women are people, and we define people of color or any race as equal people. So why can't we just acknowledge that we're still causing an atrocity and do the right thing, change our definitions to fit that? Like, animals are sentient. They're having a subjective experience. They have personalities. How would that not mean that they're a person?
Right.
Oh, I'm way behind. I'm just going to jump to the end. I was like 30 messages behind. Oh, I don't care for your Sky Daddy. I think that I'm people? Of course. Don't walk in any park. Of course I walk through parks. Hunting is not ethical. The chicken had to lose their life for you to grill them. That's the atrocity. We have behavioral studies that look at their reactions to things. That's how we know animals are sentient. Look up the Cambridge Declaration of Consciousness and the New York Declaration of Consciousness.
Wow. Okay.
You're welcome to speak up too, Lori. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be dominating the airwaves. You can respond to people.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up to one person.
I keep falling way behind. It does start to go really fast, and then no culture justifies using someone. Sorry.
Yeah, and baby sass plants are not sentient.
Yeah, no, they're not. They can feel things all they want. They still gonna feel good when I eat them. They're not gonna feel good.
No.
You can have vegan bacon. Pigs are unalived, or they're stunned in a gas chamber. We have functioning gas chambers in our countries. That's not something I'm proud of either. Plants are living. They're not sentient. Exactly, Mothy. Go watch Game Changers. That is an excellent movie about health and bodybuilding and the fact that you can build muscle on a plant-based diet. Nehemiah Delgado is in there. I think even Patrick Baboumian is in there. There's a lot of people. I'm just listing two of so many that they show. Being vegan is not hypocritical. In fact, it's living in alignment with your principles. If you use animals, but you think your own autonomy should be respected, you are the hypocrite. You're saying rights for me, but not for thee.
Exactly.
So how would we handle the animals? If the world went vegan overnight, which it won't, but if it did, that means we have the mindset that we want to care for the animals and not exploit them. So we could put tax money towards caring for them for the rest of their days, which would be maybe about 20 years from now. And it would be like maybe 8 years, there'd be a huge drop off of animals naturally because chickens only live to be about 8 to 10. And if they're well taken care of. So we'd have a huge drop off around 8 years. And then it'd be just pigs, goats, and cows at that point that would be alive for maybe until they're about 20, 25, and then there would be no more domesticated animals.
They won't
that would be what probably.
Feral too.
Yeah, exactly. Don't breed them.
Equestrian.
Yeah. Exactly. Someone was just asking, how do we genuinely take care of the animals? And I'm like, well, take care of the ones that are here and don't breed any more into existence.
Exactly.
Any issue you have with crops, chemicals being sprayed on them, fertilizers that release greenhouse gases, the land that they take up, the water that these plants use, or the monocrops that have crop dust, any issue with crops is compounded by using animals. It's made worse by using animals. So if you do care about the chemicals sprayed on plants, if you care about the greenhouse gases, if you care about the animals that die in crops, then you'll go vegan because you'll reduce how much you support that. Animals eat way more plants than you do. So you're demanding these animals be fed and then taking their sentient life so that you can eat them. Trees are not sentient. They just have patterns that keep them existing in their environments. Plants are not sentient. That's why it's better to eat them. Plants and fungi are not sentient. Good God, there's so many plant welfareists in the freaking chat.
Trees are not sentient, baby.
If it's gifted to you, you're telling the person that's giving it to you that you like it, and they'll go out of their way to get more of that for you. So you're still supporting it.
Yeah.
You're still, in addition, yeah. So not only are you receiving it and you're telling them, I like this, you're also still seeing animals as a resource for you. You're still seeing them as something to be used versus, like, if it were a human slave's body that had been chopped up and given to you for food, would you say the same thing? Probably not. You'd be so offended. You'd be like, I need to go bury this, you know, like, why is it different for animals?
Right.
Yep. No, all bad stuff is plant-based. How hilarious when people are in the hospitals because they have cholesterol-packed arteries from eating animals.
Right.
We don't need the nutrients from animals. Get everything from plants. All right, I'm jumping back down. I got behind by like 30.
Oh, yeah, they're going fast.
They're so fast. Well, guys, I don't know. Maybe I'll call it here. I was going to try to go another 10 minutes, but it's just answering questions in the chat, and I don't know if anyone's actually learning from them.
Storm keeps asking, how do you grow food in the northern Arctic? Is that where you live, Storm?
Yeah, most people don't live in the Arctic. In fact, I would argue there's really nobody out there. Very small percentage of people. Most people have access to grocery stores. If you have access to a grocery store, farmer's market, you have options. You can live vegan. Plants are not sentient.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the person you're talking to, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it. Yeah.
So if I was in the Inuit community and I had this epiphany, or I talked to somebody and I was like, you know what, I don't want to cause animals unnecessary or harm anymore. I don't want to use animals when it's unnecessary at all. I would look for every aspect of my life that I can remove that and do so. You know, I'm not going to tell anybody to harm themselves or to greatly diminish their quality of life. But I will say, if you're in the Inuit community and you decided that you didn't want to use animals anymore, I find it an injustice that you would have to be forced then to cross your principles in order to survive in a community that you were raised in, right? That sounds like an injustice to me. So I think that what needs to happen is advocacy for those communities to have access to healthy foods is what needs to happen. But that doesn't mean that people that don't have access to healthy foods don't deserve to be at this conversation. They still should talk about animal rights and ethics of using animals. Even in survival situations, you should be fully cognizant of what you're doing. Actually, your argument for being black does not excuse you from not being vegan. In fact, the black community is the fastest growing vegan community.
Yeah.
So maybe go look them up. A lot of cooking channels, a lot of great dishes that I've even recreated. I'm not usually one to make fancy meals anymore, but I do love some good soul food. We actually have a restaurant here called Dirty Lettuce.
Oh yeah,
it's so good. Yeah, and it's all like soul food kind of stuff. They make Like the Kentucky Fried Chicken sandwiches, they make them out of seitan. Oh my God, they're so good. But they don't. I have to drive to them, and they're kind of out of my way, so I don't go there very often. But oh, their food is so good.
Why do they always have stretch earrings and piercings? What does that have to do with anything?
I mean, most vegans that I meet don't have the same piercings as me, honestly. I don't really meet a lot of vegans like this. Yeah, we're all different. There's so many different types. I know conservative vegans. There is no one vegan. There are vegans under every type of ideology, weirdly enough.
All right.
I'm vegan for the animals. The animals can suffer. We don't need to use them. I'm going to do my best to avoid harming them or demanding it.
Press up, baby. If you want to ask
here we go.
question.
Miguel is here. If baby comes up, we can bring him up too. Baby sass. Okay, Miguel.
Hi there.
Are you over 18? Hi.
Yeah, 32.
Are you over 18? Okay. So why aren't you vegan?
How about for self-preservation?
Do you not shop at a grocery store?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so when you go to the grocery store, just don't buy the animal products, buy plant-based products. What's stopping you from
Right,
doing
but
that?
then what if something happens and there's no food in the grocery store?
Well, then the animals will die because they eat plants.
Huh?
The animals you use will die because they eat plants.
Why would
You're saying there's no
the
food in the
animals-
grocery store, so I assume there's no plants, right?
Why would there be no plants?
Okay, so then just eat plants even if there's not a grocery store.
No, like you won't be able to. If you have to live off the land, you're not going to be able to sustain yourself just based
You
just on
can.
plants.
You absolutely can. In fact, many poor nations rely on
absolutely
plant-based
can't.
proteins. Miguel, what is it that you think you need from animals that you can't get from a plant-based diet?
Yeah, B12, iron,
Vitamins.
protein.
You can get iron in vegetables and plants. All plants have all the amino
you-
acids you need in varying amounts. Miguel,
Actually, you would need
I really
need a
don't.
large
All right,
amount.
you have a great day. You just shut the fuck up and go away. I don't have patience for people that are going to interrupt me when we're talking about health because it's already been decided that we can thrive on a plant-based diet. I don't care what little thought you had. B12 is from bacteria. Taking a vitamin is not the worst thing. Taking someone's life to consume a vitamin that was given to them is immoral. They supplement the animals you use.
That's right.
Sorry, I didn't have patience for him. I don't like it when people just want to talk over me and they think they're right about health when they're not. Miguel, you were wrong. Go educate yourself.
He wants to come back up.
I know I don't want him to come up,
Okay.
but I'll bring up the other person.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Mama.
Jasara, are you over
Yeah.
18?
Yeah.
Okay,
I got a
why aren't you
question.
vegan?
I mean, for pretty much for the most part, I do eat. The only animal I eat is fish. I don't know. For some reason, meat makes me feel sick, and
Why do you still eat fish?
I don't know. I just can't. I just see myself.
Would you, if you found out that fish can feel pain just similar to the other animals, would you find it a moral obligation to live vegan?
Probably. I mean, I tried being vegan in freshman year of college about like 4 years ago, but besides that, I don't know. I've never. Sorry, I've tried going back again, and it's just I don't know. But fish is the only animal I eat. But
Well,
I don't
what
know
I
if
would
they
suggest,
eat.
do you care about the other animals, even though you're not eating them? Do you care
Oh.
that they have the capacity to suffer?
For sure, especially I read that cows are as smart as dogs, or even smarter.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
all just as smart. Chickens, ducks, all of them.
For sure.
Yes.
One, I do go to the gym a lot. I lift. You know, I don't know. I take a lot of protein, whey protein, but there's plant-based protein, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Well, there's plant-based protein powders even that you could replace your whey with. What I would suggest is going to Challenge 22 because you can talk to an actual registered dietitian who has 2,000 to 8,000 hours dedicated to focusing on how nutrition affects your health. and they specifically could help you with bodybuilding and making sure you get all your protein, all your iron, all your information.
For sure.
So that's a free resource. There's also nutritionfacts.org if you just want an easy checklist. You can ask ChatGPT to make meal plans and double check them in Cronometer. I don't know if you know what Cronometer is. It's just an app you can throw food into. Like you can say, I had a Fuji apple, and it'll break down the micro and macronutrients of it. You can also just type in whole meals, and it'll give you the micro and macronutrients of your food. So you could use chat to make meal plans and then double check them in Cronometer.
All right, awesome. I mean, that's pretty much it. Have a great day.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Take a screenshot. Maybe watch Dominion so you know what those labels mean when you go to the store, like free range, grass-fed, local, small, farm. You should watch Dominion. It's free on YouTube.
Will
and
do.
if you do, please come back to me and talk to me. I'd love to hear from you.
All right, awesome. Goodbye.
Yeah. All right. Well, you have a great day. Thanks for coming up.
Got another one waiting.
Awesome.
He's really trying, Miguel.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Miguel. It's because I frustrated them because they want to argue about health and convenience of meat packaging, and I just don't care to argue that. Let's see. Your name is Speeclusive. Speeclusive? Hey.
Yeah, that's me.
Are you over
Good question.
18?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. And why aren't you vegan though?
Me?
Yeah.
It's a good question. I want to ask, why are you vegan?
Well, first answer my question, then I'll answer yours.
I don't have a reason.
Okay. I'm vegan because I recognize that animals are sentient, that they have the capacity to feel suffering just like we do, and that we don't need to use them. And if I want my ability to experience life and my capacity to suffer to be respected by not being exploited by others, I have a moral obligation to then reflect that same respect that I demand to other beings that have similar capacities.
Got it. Do you feel that, were you ever not a vegan at one point?
Yes.
Did you
For
ever feel,
26 years of my life.
did you ever feel more nourished when you were not a vegan?
I didn't actually feel any different. Like some people say they have like this big health change, like suddenly they felt better or something, and I did lose some weight in the beginning, but
And why do you
I
think
literally
that is?
felt the same. Oh, because I was eating a lot of junk food, and at the time I had to cut out junk food because I didn't know how to eat vegan yet.
Do you
So
think
I
a lot
was
of people go vegan just to
learning.
become healthier?
No, I think veganism is a principled stance against the exploitation of sentient beings.
Yeah, we go by plant-based. That's the diet. Veganism is not the diet.
Right.
And you don't think that you're not going to get vitamins like B12, things like that?
You can take a supplement if you're worried about it.
But I feel like that just comes along with convenience. Like, why would I turn my life to something that it's not really...
So the animals that you're using are supplemented anyway. So you're basically taking a supplement right there.
But I'm talking about convenience, though.
What's inconvenient about taking a supplement?
One, they could be pricey. Two, it's just inconvenient out of my day. I gotta
Compared to
pop too many
animal
pills.
flesh? Compared to animal flesh?
Yeah, not
I just feel like I'd rather eat a meal. Like,
Yeah,
ground
you can
beef.
eat a meal
I'm crazy
without
with that.
sacrificing someone's life. You're sacrificing someone's life. Do you have any companion animals?
Do I have a dog? I got two dogs.
Dog?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you eat in either of them?
I'd hope not. No.
Right. Exactly. Why?
Because it's my dog.
Right. You recognize that there's someone in there, right? Experiencing the world. They have preferences. They have their unique likes. You know, they have a specific toy they like to play with. There's a specific time of day they enjoy, right?
Mhm.
They're unique. They're not the same dog. They're two different individuals, right?
Yeah, but do you care for somebody across the world who has no meaning to you? Like a
Of course
stranger?
not, but I respect them still. I'm not going to exploit them, right? That's the bare minimum that I'm advocating for, is that you just don't exploit them. I'm not telling you that you have to be friends with all animals. You don't even have to like animals. I'm saying at bare minimum, don't use them because you don't need to. They feel like you do, in the sense that they have this interest in continuing to have experiences and weigh them out. And just like you don't want that robbed of you, and whatever happens to you matters to you because that's your whole world. It's the same thing for them.
All right. All good.
So what's stopping you from living vegan?
I just don't want to. Like, I don't really care about it.
Have you ever seen what the animals have to go through?
No, I'm not really interested. Just food at the end of the day.
Well, I would say if you're brave and you think, that you can make your own decisions for yourself like an adult, you should educate yourself on what it is that you're buying instead of just being a drone.
I like a steak. I like a big.
So you like being told what to do.
Fat bitch.
You like being told what to do. You like having companies be your daddy. Your daddy. Those companies, they get to dominate you. I can't make decisions by myself. I'm only an adult.
Right, exactly.
Silly.
You got three people waiting. I bet one's Miguel.
It is. Miguel, stop trying. Just leave. I'm not going to talk about health with you.
Hello?
Conrad. Hi.
Okay.
You sound like a child. Are you over 18?
Yes, I am.
Maybe you should ask your mom. Go ask your mom to come up here for you.
Yeah.
Baby Sass, I believe that you were being requested to come up here a while ago.
Yeah.
Hey, are you over 18?
Yes, ma'am.
Right on. So why aren't you vegan?
Because I need all the nutrients.
What nutrients do you need from animals that you can't get from a plant-based diet?
Just so you know, I've done the research. I've done studies. I've gone down.
So what
to
is
our
the nutrients? What is the nutrients that you need from animals that you can't get from a plant-based diet?
Well, can I speak?
Can you answer my question?
Well, I'm trying to answer it, but you keep.
No, you're
cutting me
not.
off.
You're being a victim. What is it that you need from animals that you can't get from a plant-based diet?
No, it's not being a victim. It's trying to answer your question.
Just answer my questions. You don't have a name. Should I just call you Ed? So you have for your picture.
Good. That sounds perfectly fine.
Okay. Ed, are you over 18?
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Why aren't you vegan?
I don't know. I've been thinking about it for a while. It's something I've been considering. I just haven't. I don't know. I feel like people are gonna judge me a lot. I'm just wondering
Sure, that's a valid concern.
I just wondering how I should go about it, being a vegan.
Well, if you don't want to tell people about it at first, that's understandable because it's about a principled thing. And I feel like if you're just figuring it out, focus on yourself and your decisions and learning more about veganism. And yeah, it's just about when you're in the store, not purchasing the animal products, not purchasing leather or going to the zoo. It's because you see the animals as sentient beings. And, if you saw a human in their situation, you would find it appalling to do whatever is being done to them.
Yeah.
So that's what being vegan is about. As far as how to do that socially, that's totally up to you. Because advocacy is not, it's not the focus of veganism. It's just a side effect that happens to people when they learn what's happening and they feel like just abstaining isn't enough. But I'm just advocating that people at minimum abstain from using animals. You don't necessarily need to tell everybody. You don't need to exclude yourself from events or anything. You can tell people too that it's an allergy or that you feel like your body is sensitive to those things. You can be honest with people. I just don't care for the way animals are treated, and then just leave it at that.
Yeah.
The only reason. Go ahead.
You shouldn't be afraid. You shouldn't be afraid.
Yeah, you shouldn't be afraid.
Yeah, I just have one last question. So
Go ahead.
This is personal, all right? If I go vegan, can I still suck dick? Can I still gobble up meat like that?
Oh yeah, you can absolutely do that as long as you have consent. It's all about consent. Silly. At least he said it that way.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, But it is about consent. You shouldn't be doing that to somebody if you don't have their consent, right? Same deal. Same deal. You're literally, I mean, if you think about it, that the way I describe people using animals is that they're using someone's body without their consent for their own sensory pleasure, right? So it is very similar. It's the mindset, right? Is your victim suffering worth moral consideration? And the answer is yes.
Oh, Pissed Off is waiting on you. Yeah, he's been.
Please, come on up. Hey, Pissed Off Nation. Are you over 18? Hello? I can hear you breathing. Okay. Well, you have a great day, Pissed Off Nation. Live vegan. That's too bad. All right, facts. Are you over 18?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Why aren't you vegan?
I don't know. Just because it tastes like, I don't know. Because meat tastes too good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the taste pleasure. So if you found out that humans taste like bacon, would you feel that it is now morally justified to unalive humans to make bacon?
No.
I agree. So we can agree then that taste pleasure doesn't justify harming someone or taking their life.
But like, I wouldn't say like being a vegan is like makes you more morally like better, I suppose.
I wouldn't say that a vegan is more moral than anybody because I don't know what else they're doing in their life. But being vegan is a principled stance against the exploitation of sentient beings.
I mean, I would disagree only because like when you like let's
Disagree
just
with
say,
what?
Like you, so you think like you're saving animals because you're being a vegan?
No,
right?
you didn't hear what I said. The definition of veganism is a principled stance against the exploitation that means to use someone unfairly for your benefit. We're against the exploitation of sentient beings.
Yeah, it's not about a diet.
It's not about harm either. It's not about harm either. It's about being against enslaving someone for your benefit, especially when it's unnecessary. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm against harming animals. I'm against unnecessary cruelty and enslavement of animals. Does that make sense? Like, I'll defend myself, but I don't want to advocate for someone to be used and harmed for me.
Okay, then I guess there's nothing to talk about. Okay, sorry for wasting your time.
Okay, well, you have a great day then. You clearly weren't here to have an actual conversation. That's sad. Oh, well, I'll bring you back up, Piss. I just saw you in there. I did see your comment. I'll bring you back up, but I tapped on Free Luigi if they come in. Hey, are you over 18?
Yeah, I'm over 18. I'm 21. How's it going? I mean,
It's going all right. Why aren't you vegan?
Well, that's because it's not really like, I mean, actually I should be vegan because I'm trying to be weight loss. I just haven't really gotten into it.
That's plant-based. Veganism is a principled
Yeah,
stance
and I know
against the
what it is.
exploitation.
I probably should be vegan because I need to lose some weight.
Okay, again, it's not about your weight. I don't care about your weight.
No,
I'm
it
talking
is
about
about,
the
like,
animal. Oh, well, that's great. You can go to Challenge
Veganism-
22. You can go to Challenge 22 and talk to a dietitian about your health. I am a TikToker. I don't know what you expect to get out of me. I'm telling you that the science has come to a conclusion. We can thrive on a plant-based diet. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics literally states that a vegan diet is safe and healthy for all stages of life and is, in fact, beneficial against many of our chronic diseases like cardiovascular disease and diabetes. So I don't want to argue with you about health and if you can be healthy on a vegan diet. You absolutely can. You have to want to be vegan, though. If you're just up here spouting excuses, then yeah, you're not going to care. But if you want to go vegan, you absolutely can go to Challenge 22 and talk to the dietitians. They'll tell you what's available in your area within your budget. Yes, most people should be vegan, if not everybody should be vegan. No one should be abusing animals unnecessarily. All right, Pissed Off Nation, come on up. Oh, Lori, I'm sorry. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, no.
He's still loading in. You can say whatever you're going to say.
Are you there, Pissed Off? Hello?
He's still loading, it looks like.
Okay.
Which is weird because I just saw them in the comments.
Yeah.
Why would I force people against their will to go vegan? I'm on a live Storm. Like, calm down. Everyone's going, oh, she's turning into a dictator. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, Pissed Off. I'm so sorry. It's not working. Maybe leave the app and come back.
Something's not going through. Yeah.
Let's see where are we at. I am pretty tired. I actually might call it here, guys. I'm just so exhausted.
Okay. Up to you.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just reading the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am just trying to educate people about animals, their inherent rights to life, and that we don't need to use them. Oh, did I misunderstand something? Would you say? If you could force everyone against their will to be vegan, would you do it? I mean, no, I couldn't do that. How could I force anybody to be vegan? If anything, these people that are omnivore are like, you should go after the laws, or I should go after the corporations. Is that not me, like, stepping aside of your choice and making there only be the option of plants? That's me being a dictator to you right there, and that's what everyone would prefer. I just don't understand. And then when I'm out here doing it the democratic way, where I'm like, you have a voice, you can vote, they're like, you're forcing me to do things.
Right. Right. Yep.
Anyway.
Hypothetical.
Well,
okay.
I think I'm just going to call it like I said. I really appreciate you being here with me, Lori. It looks like my live is like glitching too. I keep freezing.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's been fun again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll be live. I was gonna skip tomorrow, but I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna be live tomorrow at 3. I might only be live for like an hour though, because I don't know. I feel like the evening times the quality of questions drops drastically.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we'll see. All right, I'll see you tomorrow about 3 p.m. PDT.
Okay.
And yeah, and if you're not vegan in my audience, you should be vegan. Thank you to all the vegans that have been here having my back and talking back and forth with the non-vegans. And Lori, thank you. Oh, thank you, Lori, for always having my back. You're freaking awesome. And yeah, I should share your story more. I should have you share your story more often, just because it's such a strong background, you know, and all these people with their weak excuses pale, you know. If you can do it, they can do it. Anyway, if you're not vegan, go vegan. Have a great vegan day, and please live peacefully. All right, go vegan. See you guys.